What is good, family? Welcome back. This is your girl, Courtney Michelle. And yes, you are tuned into I Am Courtney Michelle. Definitely here to discuss a whole lot of stuff with you about what's going on. And yeah, you saw the thumbnail. So I'm going to get right into it like I usually do. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. I see you, One Community, OG Patrice, my chick. I love you. RM, always doing a damn thing. So let's get it started because I don't like to beat around the bush. I think we have a lot to discuss today. A lot of stuff that's been on my mind with seeing everything that's been going on in the media with Joe Rogan. It has been a lot. And I want to break it down. And I think a lot of stuff that I always think about or have an opinion on, sometimes it's different than what you might have heard, or maybe different from your opinion. So I want to make sure that we get you guys' intake on this whole situation. So, yeah, first, what I want to do is break down the timeline of Joe Rogan. Uh, any YouTuber would tell you, any content creator would let you know that in this space, Joe Rogan is king. He's been able to say a lot of different things. Nothing usually that's politically correct, but been able to kind of say his piece and has a huge following and has been allowed to, and never really heard anything negative in the media as far as his take until recently within the past year. And I find it interesting, what we're trying to, or what maybe some are trying to cancel him with, maybe even censor him by. So yeah, let's not just talk about it, let's be about it. So the Joe Rogan Experience, an amazing podcast. I've watched it. I love to hear his take on a lot of different things because it makes me think a little bit harder on situations. I believe it started back in December the 24th. So this was Christmas Eve, 2009, is when he started his podcast. And it's been going since then. Huge numbers, changed the game up as far as doing kind of deals with different platforms, i.e., Spotify, being on this particular platform as well with YouTube. So he really kind of changed the game as far as marketing and making himself a complete businessman as a content creator. So again, nothing really said a peep. A lot of stuff that he said we've discussed on here, but nothing really as big as this. But it didn't start off with the racial slurs that right now he's underwater with, or under fire, excuse me. It started off back last year, I believe it was around April, with the whole pandemic. He's been very, very vocal about his take on vaccinations. I believe it was last year when he specified that if you're young and healthy, there's no reason at all to get vaccinated. Once he said that, I saw the media, CNN, Fox News, ABC News, a lot of them started looking at Joe Rogan. And since he was going against the grain, not off all the ideas that he has, especially with the smoking weed and things like that, it was once this vaccine came and he had his take on it, which was different than a lot of people in the media, he started to get scrutinized. These are all facts. And then last year, he got it. He got the virus and didn't double down on what he said. As a matter of fact, he did a show about it, admitting that he contracted the C word. And he had like a formula of what he used about what made him get more healthy. And it wasn't the vaccine. He specified the concoctions, the stuff that he got at a local drugstore to make him feel better. And within a couple of days, he said he was disease free. And then, of course, once he said that, he got under more scrutiny. And I know Don Lemon off CNN was making fun of his remedies of what he had. And so this is what, for me, kind of started the ball rolling with Joe Rogan. It was at that point where we started kind of looking at him a little different. The media started scrutinizing a lot of his shows, but yet nothing happened. I think there was a artist, Neil Young. He made it out and said, you know what, since he's saying all this and this is harmful, I think I'm going to start pulling my music from Spotify if he's on here saying this harmful rhetoric about vaccines. There was doctors and scientists that was penning open letters to YouTube saying how harmful his rhetoric was about the vaccine and that we need to pull this because, again, it's dangerous. Joe Rogan is now dangerous. Now, mind you, he's been on here since 2009. But once this vaccine stuff started talking, and he wasn't necessarily with it and saying that if you're healthy and young, you shouldn't take it, then that's when it started to I don't know if it kind of made the media upset, or maybe they thought that he was super leftist and then was saying some stuff that seemed to be kind of conservative. If I might say so myself, then it started. But damn it, that Spotify, damn it, this YouTube did nothing. He carried on with his shows. They didn't dismiss him. They didn't pull anything from him. That's until, say, a couple weeks ago. A couple weeks ago, there was a video that surfaced. It wasn't a whole big video, but it was a montage of different clips of him saying the God forbidden word. Nigga. Yes. He said it a lot, actually, on his platform. Not all at once, but again, since 2009, mind you. He's been doing his own thing. Everything has been on YouTube. It's been on Spotify. Not a one person said a peep until the vaccine. They couldn't cancel him. Now there's this random montage from back since 2009 of him saying a word, and it was just word after word after word after word after word. And I was like, well, this is interesting. Let me show you what it was. Again, it wasn't that long, and y'all know I like to share stuff, so you bear with me. But this is what started going across the airwaves.
Saying the word. I already said is just like saying. She's calling you. It's like this boy that he starts calling them bird. There should be a word like, especially like the word that's he says guy, and they're saying allowed to use the word out the word. He couldn't say. Yeah, guys, there it is.
So this montage of him saying nigga, 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 beep, 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 like the Road Runner, kept going on different platforms, and now it hit the shade room of, oh no, there's footage of Joe Rogan saying the word multiple times. And now at this very moment is where people are pulling away from him. Artists, i.e., like India Arie, which I'm going to get to a little later, decided that this was it. How dare this white man say the word nigger? He got to go. He can't say that word. He's a white man. How dare he? Mind you, no context. These are over 12 years of shows, thousands of hours, not knowing how he said it, why he said it, the context of what he said it with. We don't seem to care. We're going to pull away from him. We're going to continue to fight YouTube, Spotify, get this man off the air because this white man said nigger. Now, I can understand it. I understand the word, as far as within my community, being extremely hurtful. I have personal experience being raised here in the South of that particular word. But before I get into it, I want to talk the word and the origins. The history of the word nigger is often traced to the Latin word niger, meaning black. This word became a noun in the English language and simply the color of black in Spanish and Portuguese. No matter what its origins, by the early 1800s, it was firmly established as a derogatory name. In the 21st century, it remains a principal term of white racism. Regardless of who is using it, social scientists agree that the words like, well, you guys can read it. These are all derogatory terms, disparaging nicknames, explicit group devaluations. Yeah. So, besides that, if you can see on what I've posted, the other derogatory terms that other minorities have had, the word nigger carries with it much hatred, disgust directed towards Black Africans and African Americans. Historically, nigger defined limited, made fun of, and ridiculed all Blacks. It was a term of exclusion, a verbal reason for discrimination. Whether used as a noun, verb, adjective, it's strengthened in its stereotype of lazy, stupid, dirty, worthless, nobody. No other American slur name carries as much purposeful cruelty as this word. Now, as you can see, I have a list here of back in the day and even today that we use the word in conjunction with other words to mean something. And again, being raised in the South, I hate to say it, but it's true. These are words that I have heard people say, and not even just Black folks, but I've heard white people say. Nigger lover, I've heard that before. Actually, people said that to a couple people in my family members. I'll tell you about that story. A nigger heaven, a, a designated place, usually the balcony where Blacks were forced to sit, for example, in the integrated movie theater church, nigger knock. Now, I remember saying this as a little girl, not even knowing the depths of it. It was a game that we played, going nigger knocking on people's doors, which literally means you knocking and running. Nigger rich. I think Dave Chappelle said that maybe on a skit. Nigger shooter, nigger steak, nigger stick. All of these terminologies, all defaming, all degrading. But these were words and terms used to slight us. So, yes, this word has weight. This word is very powerful within our community. The first time I heard the word, I'll tell you a quick story. I was 8 years old, living here. Is an area called Smyrna, Tennessee. Now, with the name Smyrna, you know it's a little rural. My cousins, I was spending the night over my cousin's house. She's younger than me, and she lived with chickens and hens, and so we good and country folks. We was walking to the corner store, I think maybe trying to get some candy. It was me and my two younger cousins, and we were walking. Mind you, I was 8. And I remember walking, it was a kind of a desolate street, and a blue pickup truck with 3 white men were sitting in the truck, driving next to us, screaming at us, telling us, "Y'all little niggers, get out of this neighborhood. You don't belong here. Go back to Africa." I'm 8. My cousin might have been 7, maybe turning 7. My little cousin might have been like 6. Like, we're all close together, but again, I'm big cousin. And they wouldn't stop following us. And so me and my cousin, we didn't understand the verity of it, and or what could have happened. All I remember is me telling her, "Y'all, we need to run." And we ran, and the truck sped up and continued to follow us. And so we ran into kind of like this wooded area where we figured the truck wouldn't go to. And thank God they didn't. And we hid out there. I remember being out of breath, looking to make sure the truck was gone. And I think I was just so confused on why a truck with 3 adult white men would be chasing kids screaming at us, "Nigger, get out of here. You don't belong." I don't know if I was hurt. I don't remember crying, but just in a shock, like, are you serious? I remember telling my mother the story. Nothing, of course, happened. There was just a random blue truck in rural Tennessee. But I remember telling my mom that, we got chased down, her scared, telling me, "You better not ever, you will never walk them streets again." But then after that, she told me that people are going to say words to you. It might be that word again or other words, but it's you that give the power to make it hurt you. It is you that give words the power, the ability to make you feel less than. If you don't feel less than, if you don't give that word any power, then they can't use it against you. I remember my mother telling me that at a young age, and it stuck with me. If I don't have a problem with anything that you can try to say to me that makes me feel worthless or ugly or demean, you have no power over me. I always say this, and I say this to the day, that it is not what you think of me or what you can say about me. It's what I answer to and what I call myself and who I look up to. That Southern Baptist saying, if they made fun and talked about Jesus, baby, they going to make fun and talk about you. And this is true. And I live to that to this day. So now with the Joe Rogan, him saying nigger, do or does that word still hold power with me as a Black woman? Hmm. Let me go. I'm going to play something else for you guys. Now, because of everything that's happened with Joe Rogan and saying the word again, we don't know the reason why he said it. It was completely taken out of context. It was a montage of a word, and the backlash that he got, the backlash that he's getting, of course, usually anyone in the media is going to force them to say or do an apology. I think that's so lame. If you're not sorry, then don't say sorry. Don't apologize. Stick by your word. But they do that. A lot of times it's PR or whatnot. But he said an apology, and I listened to it a couple times, and I understood it. So let's hear his apology. I'm not going to play it in its totality, but we can listen to a little bit.
I'm making this video to talk about the most regretful and shameful thing that I've ever had to talk about publicly. There's a video that's out that's a compilation of me saying the N-word. It's a video that's made of clips taken out of context of me of 12 years of conversations on my podcast, and it's all smushed together, and it looks fucking horrible, even to me. Now, I know that to most people, there is no context where a white person is ever allowed to say that word, never mind publicly on a podcast. And I agree with that now. I haven't said it in years, but for a long time, when I would bring that word up, like if it would come up in conversation, instead of saying the N-word, I would just say the word. I thought as long as it was in context, people would understand what I was doing. Like that context was part of the clip we were talking about Red Fox, how Red Fox said that word on television in the 1970s, and how times have changed so much since then. Or about how Richard Pryor used it as one of the titles of one of his albums. Or I was quoting a Lenny Bruce bit, or I was quoting a Paul Mooney bit, or I was talking about how Quentin Tarantino used it repeatedly in Pulp Fiction, or I was talking about how a Netflix executive, ironically, used it because he was trying to compare it to another offensive word, and he said it out loud, and they fired him. not calling anybody or just saying the word out loud. I was also talking about how there's not another word like it in the entire English language, because it's a word where only one group of people is allowed to use it, and they can use it in so many different ways. Like if a white person says that word, it's racist and toxic, but a black person can use it and it could be a punchline, it could be a term of endearment, it could be lyrics to a rap song, it could be a positive affirmation. It's a very unusual word, but it's not my word to use. I'm well aware of that now, but for years I used it in that manner. I never used it to be racist because I'm not racist, but whenever you're in a situation where you have to say, I'm not racist, you fucked up.
Joe Rogan is a comedian, which I think adds another context to it. Comedians, I feel, should not be censored. It is their art to have controversy, to have things that we can't say, but they're able to say it and yet evoke something in us to laugh. That's the art of being a comedian, is to take hurtful, harmful situations and make it into something that makes us comfortable. Now, I've watched his platform before. I've never heard him say the word as far as the shows that I have heard. So I can't necessarily say how I would feel if me listening to it in real time. But what I do know is that this word has such an effect on us to this day. To this day. I'm sorry. And my question is why? Why are we still using or having this word affect us so much? Are we supposed to police everyone that says it? Are we the only ones that are able to say the word? So if a white man says the word nigger, we cancel him because he said it, not giving it its context, not saying that he's repeating something from Paul Mooney. But if he even says the word, he got to go. Is this the environment that we want to put ourselves in over a word? Another thing that I do want to talk about tonight, and what I am seeing, and I think it might be a little different. I definitely think the world knows that this word brings out a type of emotion in us that no other word is able to do to anyone. I do know that the media can incite a nation of Black folks by saying someone used it. And we are up in arms that somebody white said nigga again, doesn't matter how or why, but he said it. So if the world knows that it affects us this way, and if the media understands that maybe they can't cancel a man for not pushing an idea that they want, i.e., maybe the vaccine, and you can't cancel him for that. Let's make something that we can try to cancel him over. So is it a ploy? Does the media use this to tear at our hearts? I think so. I think they do. I definitely don't think that there is a reason that this montage of him saying this word over 12 years, mind you, no one said anything else over 12 years, but yet we do this and have a montage of him saying it over 12 years. And now you have Black people involved in a fight that really had nothing to do with us. I'm going to put the link because I really want to get some people comments, but then I'm going to talk about Miss India.Arie. I think she interjected a lot of things in this conversation, um, which I thought was interesting. And I want to talk about her too, because if we're going to talk about things being equal, and in this space, we like to talk about equality. Y'all hate the feminist people. Y'all say the women want it equal, but they don't really. But what about this word? Do we want equality? Is equality letting this word be said amongst people? I don't know. I have no idea. So Miss India.Arie, let's pull my girl up. So India.Arie posted the montage of him saying nigga about 20 times in a row. I was like, if Suge was free, he definitely would have signed Joe Rogan to death row. But she posted it and she said, I am going to pull my catalog from Spotify. I'm going to pull it. This man has no reason to say the word nigga, which is definitely her choice. But then she kind of got a backlash, which I wasn't expecting. But again, he has a huge following and, some ideas are being changed. So she got a backlash, and the backlash was because they said that she was trying to censor him. They said because he said it, he didn't necessarily say it to be racist. But because he said the word now, and you're pulling him, and Neil Young is pulling the catalog from Spotify because you want to censor him. You don't want to hear what he has to say, or he said something that makes you uncomfortable. And now you're doing this as sign of a protest to get him off a platform. Now, mind you, this man signed, was in 2020, a licensing deal with Spotify that was worth $100 million. So this man is invested. So it's going to take a lot for Spotify to kick his little ass out. So India.Arie was surprised. She was surprised that she was getting backlash of her saying publicly that she's going to pull her music off of Spotify. Let's hear what. I am not my hair. I am not the skin. Yeah, I love India.Arie, but let me tell you, I don't know if I agree with her. I don't know. Let's listen.
Censorship and censoring of him. Censorship is being at the threat of loss of life or freedom for your words. No one's being censored here. She said this is not censorship, this is about curation. Curation meaning choosing what you want in a space, choosing the space you want around you. Curation. This is not about censorship, this is about curation. And so Spotify is making a choice about the space they choose to curate. I and other creators are making choices about the space we want to curate, the life we want to curate, by choosing spaces we want to be in or not. So using the word censorship is not appropriate because it's not true. So I don't believe in censorship. No one's being censored here. So there's that. 2, I don't believe in cancel culture. What I know is that people garner love or hate based on how they act. And the reason why I don't believe in cancel culture is because no one is universally loved or hated. Joe Rogan can leave Spotify today and someone else will want him. No, you can't cancel. You can't actually cancel someone. You can curate a space. So again, this is not about cancel culture. It's about curation. Third, to be very clear, I never called him a racist. What I did in the curation of my space is say, I don't like this here. I don't want to be here. Anyone who saw those videos and decided for themselves if he was racist or not, that's their perception.
So she doesn't call it canceling. She calls it curation. She's curating her space for her. And she doesn't want to be in a space where they will allow a white man to say nigger. So it's not canceling. She doesn't want him canceled. She just wants him out the space for saying nigger. As Anton would say, it's a word salad of saying the exact same thing. So check this out, India. Y'all know I'll be having my receipts. I do.
Word is loaded, and that
Let her a little bit. Let me pull this up for you guys.
And so you choosing not to say the N word,
because I think this is important.
Any types of greasy.
So Miss India, let's look at the word censorship. Censorship, the suppression of words, images, or ideas that are offensive, happens whenever some people succeed in imposing their personal, political, or moral values on others. Censorship can be carried out by the government as well as private pressure groups. So India Reed doesn't call it censorship, but since she is trying to suppress a man on a platform that said a word that she doesn't feel like the white man should say, because she's offended, how is that not censorship? How is she not censoring what Spotify has by trying to protest by removing hers? Probably, I'm not sure if she's getting other artists to do it. To me, that is censorship. Now, look at here, under here with Miss India Ree. She is on YouTube, which I didn't know because I probably would have subscribed to her page. But she has a YouTube page that shows her music videos, which I think is dope. Again, I'm an India Ree fan. But who else is on YouTube? Let's see.
One less.
Paula Deen also has a page on YouTube. Bill Mayer has a page on YouTube. Again, and these are just a couple. Now, Paula Deen, I put her up. I don't know if y'all remember a couple years ago when she was happily saying nigger, nigger, nigger to her employees. She was on the show saying that she doesn't think black and white people are as racist in the South and other areas because we were family. We grew up together. And then went and told one of the guys that she, quote unquote, grew up together, hey, get from the back. You too black to see in the black. Let's see you in the light. Miss Paula Deen. And I went to her restaurant the other day. I totally forgot that she was saying this stuff. But she's on YouTube. Good, almost 500,000 subscribers. Also, Real Time with Beer Mayer is known to say the nigger, nigger, nigger. And he over there, 2.26 mil subscribers. But India is still on YouTube. So if we're going to call a spade, we have to do it the whole board. India Ree, if you want to pull your catalog from Spotify because of Joe Rogan saying the word, then I would suggest you do it on YouTube, where other people on this platform have said it multiple of times, and not even in a context of saying it to be a whole racist. So I would like for you to pull that as well, if we're going to play it fair. She's also on iTunes. iTunes, the thousands of different artists that's on this YouTube, but she's not pulling from iTunes or Apple for whatever reason. I don't know. She's not pulling from them. However, Justin Bieber is also on here. Now, I don't know if you guys remember back in the day, Justin Bieber had a whole rant. Nigger, nigger, nigger. Let me see if I can pull it up. Yeah, bear with me here. Let's see.
We need this Justin back.
One less lonely. One less lonely. There's gonna be one less. If I tell you, I'll be part of the KKK.
I'm going to share this because it's important to share.
There's gonna be one less lonely. Less lonely.
We need this Justin back.
One less lonely. One less lonely. There's gonna be one less. If I tell you, I'll be part of the KKK. There'll be one less lonely. There's gonna be one less lonely.
Justin Bieber made a whole song saying one less lonely nigger. Where is the outrage? We ain't heard none in diary. You still where you're going to pull Spotify because he was saying nigger, Joe Rogan, repeating what other people have said, not calling anyone a nigger, but saying in a context of repeating someone, explaining, trying to learn a word, whatever. But you have Justin Bieber have a whole song, one less lonely nigger. If I kill one, you'll call me the KKK. But you still on Apple. So this is what we're doing. We're picking and choosing what we get upset about. We can pick and choose whom can say it. So this is my issue. If you don't want people to say the word, then be consistent with it. And don't you say it then. Pull your Spotify, pull your YouTube, pull your Apple, pull all of it. Oh, India. I'm going to pull some people up. But it's something else that I want to talk about as well, too, before I do. Because it's loaded. It's a lot. Again, I understand the feelings of it. You're not going to be able to police who and who cannot say it. It's a word. Now, if you want people to suffer if they say the word, doesn't matter how they say it, but if you want people to suffer for just saying the word, then let's just say that. But is that right? So the lead attorney had somebody on here, and I wish I could have had her on here. She sent a message, and this before I started, she sent a message about what I was asking, or are we giving this word, the N-word, too much power? She said yes, in ridiculous amounts. And I was like, well, that's so interesting that she said that, because I remember when she was on The Lead Attorney. And she had this back and forth with Tariq Nasheed. Kind of went a little viral where she said that Black people use their color as a scab. And she meant that we get so emotional about race that we can't have logical, real conversations about it because we're so hurt and it brings us down. And I do believe there's truth to that.
That's the first thing. The scab comment, I will double down because it seems that people think that I regret saying it or I shouldn't have said it because she ain't Black, right? I specifically said to Black people, stop wearing your Blackness like a scab that you let any person pick off and put you through the pain over and over and over again. Stop wearing your Blackness in this country like a scab. Be thicker than that. Be stronger than that. I still stick by my words. I will not change it. What Tariq Nasheed did was took that soundbite and said, she said Blackness is a scab. She said Blackness is a scab. That's what Tariq Nasheed did, and that's what this fool was echoing just now. Just now. The second thing is people are confused. They don't know what Afro-Latino is.
I'm going to come back to that because I thought that was it. It was interesting. Her back and forth with Tariq Nasheed was really, really interesting. And the TLL clip on his show was extremely interesting. But did she have a point? Do we use Blackness as a scab? Meaning, do we use words like when someone says nigger, it hurts us so much that we are so strong as a community, but once we hear someone call us nigger, then we fall? Does she have a point? What if we relinquish the power of the word nigger? What if someone calls a nigger and we say, I don't give a damn, so what else you got to say? What if we flipped it and start? What if this word did not have so much power? Would it be used against us? I used to get made fun of my gap. I've had people, and even in this space, and people would say, close the gap. My dentist, close that gap. You ain't supposed to have no gap. And I've always said I did it because my father has one, and it reminds me of him. So that is one of my connections that I have with my biological father. So instead of using it or try to have someone use it for me to be on a platform and talking in front of thousands, I made it into a logo. You can't use my gap against me. You say it's ugly. I say, well, I made a logo on it and I put it on a shirt. It has no power. You saying that to me has no power anymore. It doesn't hurt me. So you have to use something else. The idea of going to war, people battling you, what they're going to do is use something that we know is going to hurt. What if it doesn't have the power that we give it? How would that change America? How would it change how media can try to use that word to inflict emotions and pain and have us do shit for them that they're not able to do, i.e. cancel Joe Rogan? What if it has the power is long gone? Will these country hit folks that I live around with the Confederate flag, would they be able to say it? Would these Karens on the internet be able to say it anymore? If we looked at them and be like, you got to come with something better than that, baby girl, that was 1800s. Baby, we doctors and lawyers are over here. Try something else. Try maybe I got an old Benz in the back. Let's try that. Because that little stuff that you tried to do to demean us, you can't use that anymore against us. When are we going to get back our power? Joe Rogan doesn't bother me. And I'm going to put that flat out. I don't believe in censorship. I do not believe in cancel culture. And I freaking hate it that this culture goes back from 12, 15, 20 years. Kevin Hart has dealt with this. Going back once we've said something a long time ago and then bring it up and then make us relive or make us live in the past, which God knows if we're living this life, we've grown. I am not the same Courtney as I was a year ago. I know I look on Facebook and some of the status that I used to put 2 years ago, I look at it and be like, man, you about dumb, girl. The hell is you posting this dumb shit for? 2 years ago, I look at the stuff that I've posted and it looks ridiculous because I'm not who I was 2 years ago. So we can't give grace to people 15, 20 years ago? Are we supposed to live in stuff that we didn't know better? To this day. To this day. I gotta get that clipped. I'm gonna bring up some people. I see you, Eugene. I'll bring up a few people because I know I was talking. Better You Life Coaching. Hello there.
Hey, Miss Courtney, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. KJ, you on, my guy. So what do you have on the topic? I talked about a lot, but pretty much just wanting to know, did it bother you? Does it bother you just the word in general being used? Does it matter the context? Do we give this word too much power? Eugene, you can go ahead. And I'm going to mute someone. I hear a noise. It sound like a cat in heat. Oh, Eugene, it's you. It's you, Eugene. It's chipmunk. You got, come on back when you can. All right, Eugene, Canadian born. I'm gonna pull you up too. So, what you got for me? Better You Life Coaching.
So, I do feel that we give that word too much power, and that's not to say that racism and discrimination doesn't exist. But in terms of Joe Rogan, I've watched his show for at least 6-7 years, ever since roughly about 2015, and at least I can't recall a show where I've seen him use that word in any type of bigoted context. There was a point in time in the past whenever there was like a news story, or if there was something like, say for instance, what happened with George Floyd. If somebody, they were talking about an event and that word was used, he didn't censor himself. He said the word. And a lot of news broadcasts did that as well. And when it comes to Joe Rogan and the climate in general today, I feel like we have to be really careful when it comes to this whole cancel culture thing. I particularly don't believe in it. But a lot of times, just because we don't agree with one particular aspect or one particular thing that somebody did, you could end up alienating allies. Joe Rogan's platform, whether you agree with the people he has on or not, is one of the few places that you can go and literally have a true conversation and see all sides of a debate.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think his platform has been revolutionary to the fact that it's not politically correct. He says exactly how I feel. He invites every single person on there, black, white, whatever, with different types of ideas. I think that his platform is very important.
No,
so I totally agree. What you got for me, Eugene? Let's make sure you don't sound like Alvin Simon Theodore.
Do I sound like him now?
No, you sound just like you.
All right. All right. Well, I can remember when I was in the 5th grade. I was just coming back from Germany. My dad was in the military. Germany, everybody was, arm in arm. But then when I got back home to Alabama, here I was a 5th grader. White boy called me one. And at first, I did not know what that word mean. I knew it was bad, but I didn't know what it means. So I came home and asked my mom what that word mean. And it was a word that is demeaning, to Black people at the time. And I'm like, wow, And until this day, that's how I always looked at it. I've never used it. I've never referred to another black person as one. That's why it really pisses me off when I hear black people, particularly black men in general, calling each other that. And I think to myself, how much pride do they really have if they call each other that? So, my thing is this. I always look at it as hurtful. That's why I don't use it at all.
Mm, I understand. Um, so in when we listen to music in our culture, hip hop culture, and this is what we say, we use it as a term of endearment now. We changed it from the ER to the A. Do you see that as a difference? Or do you see it as no, it's still the word and it's still
Mhm.
hurtful regardless of who says it?
Right. And lucky for me, I'm more rhythm oriented than lyric
Mhm.
oriented. You know, I don't care how you spell it or how you say it is still the same word. It is still hurtful to me. I mean, I'm just being honest.
Yeah. Okay. I got you. What's going on, KJ? I can't hear you. You unmuted, but I still can't hear you. Well, we'll come back to you, KJ, because I don't hear a word. But what's going on, Black David?
Hey, what's going on, my sis? How you doing?
I'm doing well. Good to see you as always.
That's great. That's great.
So
Uh,
tell me what you got on this. Are we being too sensitive with the word still?
I would say this: learning the nature and the origin of this word. I think the black community being a little too contradictive
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to picking and choosing their battle. One moment they use it in their song, in their lyrics, or how they address themselves. They say, "You know, why can I use these words?" And at the same token, when somebody either quote a specific lyric, they lash out with, "I find it highly ignorant." This is why I believe what Anton said with the black culture is trash. You idolize something that have a negative attribute towards your own community. And yet you have the nerve to try to hold on to it. Like, what's the point of it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any substance to hold on to something that is not only degrading, not only disrespectful, is original origin into a negative. So what's the point of that? You sound like a idiot. Someone like Kanye West will say, "I would take what is negative and make it positive." No, you can't, sir. That sounds real dumb.
Mm-hmm.
That's my take on it. Because other than that, if you want to, like, I love India Rage. You want to take your music out on Spotify, you are right. You might do it all across the board. You can't just pick and choose what you want to
Right.
say when you want to choose about it. It doesn't sound logical.
Right.
As a technical tactician individual who I am, I look at the whole spectrum. It's not a logical way of to address it. If you want to do something about it, make an awareness. We need to stop using these words, call it what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give it too much power. Just delete it. We'll leave it. If anybody want to give it power, put them to the side. Because I don't relate to the word. I really
Let
don't.
let me ask you, because this word is heavily used in our culture here as foundational black folks in America. I'll use my Tariq Nasheed terminology. Um, do you hear it in your community as far as being Nigerian? Is it a word
No,
used amongst Nigerians? No.
that the I try to see if I can catch a glimpse of it, unless they are copying the American culture. Other
Mm-hmm.
than that, no.
No.
It haven't been used until recently since 2013, 14, 15, when they try and be accepted within the music industry. They
Mm-hmm.
thought to use a little bit more back then. But before that, it was never being used because it was not something that we relate to it. It's just that they watch the American culture through television, aka the media, and they try to mimic what they see. It's not just only our country does it. Many other countries does it as well. What they see on the mainstream media, what they idolize, what they look at, they mimic it. That's the problem. It's not within our society, to be honest with you. Maybe a small group of idiots, but other than that, no.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to bring some more people up, you guys. So I'm going to drop you down because I got a full house to get some more opinions. But I thank you. So I'm going to drop you guys, Eugene, Black David, and Better You Life Coaching. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I'm going to play some more of Jen from the block because I think what she said was interesting. I'm going to bring some more people up too. Lamar the Kid, I see you up here. If you want to unmute and tell me what you got to say. OG Frost, I got you as well. Hey, Lamar.
What's up? What's up?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
What do you have to say? Now, mind you, I want to talk about the word and its power, but I also want to see, do we use race as a scab for us being Black? Meaning that, you know, once someone says it and unravel it, then it's just so painful and we haven't healed from the word and different race things that come to, I guess, attack us.
I would say yes. We do, because if you're an individual who feel like you don't have an identity, then your skin color becomes your identity, and that's all you have, and that's all the power that you have. And so, if that's the only power that you have, then it would give it more power because that specific word is being directed directly towards your skin color because you are Black. And so if you don't feel like you have any power in this society, then you will take a word. You actually are deceiving yourself into thinking that you're taking a word and you're changing it to make it mean something else when the word is still the same. And that goes to show you how ingrained it's been ingrained into the minds of Black people. It basically said they done a good job. The racist whites of that time done a good job of taking something and ingraining it in us so bad that we will lie to ourselves and say, well, if we take the GA off of it, or we, say it a different way, that it's going to change the meaning of it. And it's just a lie. It doesn't. It's still the same. And it still has it will still have the same effects, I believe, subconsciously. That's what I think about it. But I don't trip over it. I don't say it. It may slip up just because of the environment I'm in. I hear it a lot, but it's not in my vocabulary to say it. Sometimes I have discussions to, ask people, why you call yourself that? And a lot of people don't even know why they do it. They just do it because it's normal to do it. They don't even really think about, why do I call myself this? So, it's something that, we gotta stop allowing, the powers that be, to use us as tools to do their dirty work. Because basically that's what they're trying to do. Joe Rogan, he's not going to get canceled, but they're trying to use us to do the dirty work because, and I'm gonna say this, I ain't gonna go too deep, but if you can't get white people to cancel him and it doesn't work, they didn't have to use us to try to do it. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with any type of movement they want to push, they need our backing. And so they, and when I say they, I'm talking about Pacific people that's in power think that we're dumb, and they think we don't know no better, and they think, hey, I'm just gonna use them and use the emotional aspect to do it with. So I don't fall for it.
I totally agree, and that's what I said too. I said they use what we know that affects us and get our emotions riled up to push an agenda, and they've always done that. And so for me in this situation, I mean, we can talk about who can say the word, and Black folks say it, but it's bigger than that. And I do see that there is a particular agenda where no one said a peep from this man after saying it so many times for 12 years. You've tried to cancel him because of the vaccines, but now all of a sudden, now it's a montage. Now all of a sudden he's just public enemy number one, or just the most nigga white man saying ever. And I'm like, you didn't say anything a peep. And he had millions and millions of views, and no one said anything.
You see how they put it together.
But right, it had no context. It was, and of course, if someone's seeing that, a white man saying that, we fighting. Those are fighting words. It's always been. Yeah. So I'm just trying to create kind of dialogue where, yeah, it's a hurtful term. How long are we gonna have it hurt us before we see the bigger picture on why it's still being used, why it's still saturated on the YouTube streets, why you still see the Karens, because they're trying to invoke still shit in us. OG Frost, what you got to say? And then Miss Bay, I'll get you as well. And thank you. I'm excited that you're
hear me?
Here. Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. That word, it got plenty power to it if you understand the history of it.
Well, I pull it up as far as the origins and where it started. And of course, from the 1800s to the 21st century. So I always do a history lesson on my show. So I did pull it up. So we understand it. And I'll pull it up again.
It had no context.
You have to put me on mute if you can.
A white man saying that.
OG.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, when they tried to cancel Dave Chappelle for saying...
Hold on. I'm going to mute you. Put YouTube, pull it down, lower the volume on the YouTube or mute it for me because I hear it in the back.
Still saturated on the YouTube.
I still hear it.
Still see the Karens because they're trying to invoke still shit in us. OG Frost, what you got to say? And then I'll get you as well.
Hold up. I got you on mute. I'm trying with them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, turn the volume down on YouTube if you have it playing, because I can hear myself. And I hate hearing myself.
As far as the origins and where it started.
Okay.
And of course,
I'm gonna give you a minute to figure that out because I still hear that. Pillow Talk.
Hello, so happy to be here.
I am so excited that you're here, and you look beautiful.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
As well.
What you got for us? Yeah.
Well, hi, Lamar as well. Hi, people in the chat. I agree 1000% with everything you guys just said, and I almost fell for it because I saw India Arie's Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I saw her clip. And I ran and I was ready to go after Joe. I was like, what? Because then you see the clips, you get triggered.
Mm-hmm.
And then but I wanted to look for the original clips. And then I'm seeing clips pop up from like 2016, 2018, some old stuff. And I was like, wait a minute. And then I looked into the whole virus thing and what he had said and how they had tried to cancel him. And I was like, man, and it's so strategic that they always hit us during Black History Month. It's like super convenient. So it's like the same game being played over and over again. And we keep falling for the same tricks. And I feel like those are things that are also keeping us from advancing, from moving on to what we really need. Because while we're doing that, we're not handling our business. And right. Lord knows we have so much more that we should be catering to. So, I mean, and we're also like here, I'm in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I know a few years back, we had this like huge debate on the N-word because a professor in a university mentioned the title of a book. The N-word is part of the title of the book. She read it out loud. One of the students got really mad, filed a complaint. I mean, it's getting to a point where we're not even distinguishing being called something when someone calls you out of your name as an insult and just the actual word, which is a word that actually exists. There's a difference between the two, right? But the way that we're being overly emotional with it, we're not taken seriously in the end because it doesn't make any sense. So it defeats the whole purpose of us fighting for something, fighting for respect, when we're not approaching the situation with logic.
Right. I agree. And I think, in a time where I've always said our image matters. And it's important that we see and we celebrate strong, beautiful Black men, beautiful, delicate women, you know, that's not just always loud and ghetto. Like, I can turn it on, but I know how to turn it off. So it's important that we showcase that. But then it's also embarrassing where we have one word and then it can just make us feel so weak again because of a particular word. If we relinquish the power, they can't use it against us no more. Then they're gonna have to use something else. But if we understand that it is a tactic, like this whole Joe Rogan thing, it's been used. They always throwing, someone said nigga, someone said this. So are we saying that nobody can say the word ever? Is that what we're saying? Not even if it's on a book, not even if they're quoting Paul Mooney. No one on this earth besides Black people can say the word nigger or it hurts us.
It's ridiculous. And meanwhile, like someone said before, I think it was Canadian-born Nigerian, was saying like in the music, I don't want to quote, I don't know who said it, but in the music industry, it's being overused. So how are you going to overuse it and then come up with all these rules and regulations as to who can use it at what time, when, how? Like, it's just ridiculous.
I agree. Let me play this while you guys, and then KJ, I'm going to get you, and then Derek, but let me play this while you guys hear.
People specifically, okay, because of the current times. Stop being hypersensitive. Stop letting people bait you into every little conversation. For instance, today you started with, I think that guy was mimicking an ape. That comes from your experiences, right? He could have been mimicking a caveman, but your interpretation was, no, he's mimicking an ape, right?
No. I said, this is what it could be to me, but I'm putting it forth to you. You guys make the decision, right? How do I know? You guys, this is what it looks like to me. You guys make the decision. In fact, I used the word jury. I said, you guys decide. You are the jury. That's what I said.
So then what's the difference when I make a video saying, stop wearing your blackness like a scab and letting people pick it off?
I don't think, I'm not sure.
So she says she's Afro-Latina, and that she was coming under flag. I'm not sure if people remember this. This was a while ago, but she was on Donovan Sharp's page and called him a bitch ass nigga. According to her, he was acting like a bitch ass nigga. And so she said it and was under flag for saying it because now she's not Black. And how dare you call a Black man a nigga, but you're not Black? And she made the argument, well, I'm from the Bronx. It's in my culture. This is how I've talked all my life. So now you're saying I can't say something that I grew up with? Like, we call each other that. I remember also, hell, till this day, knowing white guys that grew up in the hood say it to each other because that's where they grew up with. They were so used to saying it, and it just rolled off like a DMX song. Oh, my nigga, you know. So, and and I'm hearing, and I can't say, don't you say that word, because I know it was part of their environment, of how they were raised, and they were so. How are we to police it for those in the chat that are upset that she called Donovan Sharp a bitch ass nigga, or that I've heard white men calling each other, yeah, nigga, you know, the DMX joint? How can you police it? If you're raised with it, and this is the terminology that we use, i.e., I use it because I grew up with it. Derek, you got anything for us?
Hey, good evening, y'all. What's going on, everybody?
Good to see you. Welcome.
Hey, am I good? The volume and everything?
You're great.
All right, so many things, so many layers, but I'm gonna kind of shorten it. So I believe definitely Black folks is definitely our responsibility to check people who are non-Black people using the word. For one, just like you said, I grew up around it or using it. But at this point in my life and where I work at and live at, there's no one that I'm around where I'm hearing that, there's no reason for me to be saying that. Because I see it or grew up with it or heard it in music. I don't walk around calling people N and bitches. Like there's no like what woman am I going to be talking to where I call her a B? Or what man am I going to be talking to in the workplace? So a lot of times their excuses, well, you guys say it. Like, who do you assume what type of black person says it? I don't. There's no reason for me to say it. And definitely, white boy, there's no reason for you to be saying it. It's a poor excuse for them to say something that's insensitive and offensive to people. If something is offensive to Jewish people, I don't say it because it's offensive to Jewish people. If something is offensive to Native Americans, I don't say it. It doesn't matter the reason. If they tell me, hey, you need to stop saying that or doing this, my bad, okay, period. And again, this narrative where they try to, you guys say it, or black people I know and I'm around that we're not around calling each other the N-word. In what form and what are we doing? And even at the time that I was hearing that or doing that, I was in the hood or around those surroundings. I'm not in that anymore, so why would I be using it? I didn't bring my son up calling him a little nigga, whatever. He didn't hear that word from, his mother and I. So that's a bunch of BS, and it's a whack excuse for other people to try to say and validate saying it. Oh, y'all say it. How do you know that we say it? Why do you assume all black people are the same?
Well, here's the thing. This is where I'm going to get pushed back, because I don't think it's necessarily saying that every black person says it, but it's a consensus that when a black person says it to another black person, they're not going to get canceled. I can say it, nigga, 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 right now, and I don't have to worry about it being a collage and Courtney Michelle said nigga.
Well,
I'm not
because
going to get that.
we know the intent is different. I live here in Virginia. If I walk down, if I'm in a neighborhood area at night, walking with my girlfriend or something through a town, and they call me that, I know that's danger. That's the difference.
Right. But
I know
if
they say, hey, and get out of here, what y'all doing over there? People that look like us have been lynched over that word. So the intent is 100% what behind the word, the meaning and the difference. You saying it to me and Billy Bob saying it to me out on a farm at night. I'm walking through a road and he says, get out of here. There's a historical, and everybody knows this.
Okay.
White people know this.
But we're talking about the word period. Joe Rogan
Right.
didn't say y'all dumb niggers.
But
Joe
my
Rogan
point is,
quoting though. So this is what
Right.
I'm trying to get at, because I understand what you're saying. But again, back to what we're saying, just the word itself. Not using it to do ill intent, not using it to be harmful or shaming. Just the idea of a white man just saying the word has people up in arms.
Yeah, because again, the history of it and the arrogance to still use it, even if you're quoting somebody, know it will be hurtful. Why even say it? You know the history of this country. I'm not surprised by it. I mean, it really doesn't bother me. I expect this stuff. He's a middle-aged white man. I'm sure he said N before. Like, it don't surprise. The thing that surprises me is that black people are surprised by this. I'm not surprised at that. This is what they do. You know what I'm saying? It's not surprising. And again, I know we sometimes bring it up or talk about. I'm 43 years old. I've been on this planet enough. I've lived through Rodney King. I've lived through. I mean, this is stuff that was happening to my grandfather. I mean, this is what it is. So for people who always want to say black folks stop being sensitive and whatever and blah 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 and all that stuff, shut the hell up. Like, really, this is a part of this culture and history. It's in the bone marrow of America, and the intent is with malice when a person other than us usually is saying it, and they know that. So if you know that, why even say it? Why even do it? It's stupid.
Sorry.
Okay.
Can I say
Go
something?
ahead, please. And Joe, KJ, I'm gonna get you.
Okay, I'll keep it short.
Okay.
But I understand and I respect what you're saying, Derek. And to a certain degree, I agree with that. I don't use the word. I wouldn't like to be called the N-word, right? But what happens is we reinforce a narrative that we're not going to be able to back up. And we're saying you can't say you cannot police people. You're never going to be able to control the entire population and say no one can say it. The repercussions are going to be what? You're going to get beat up. then who's going to get in trouble? It's a word that is triggered. Even in movies, they showed us. They kept repeating those scenes where you would have everybody singing, dancing, and then the white guy would say the N-word because he's just singing along. And then DJ scratch, everybody turns to him, and then somebody has to do something to him. It's like a triggered reaction that we're expected to have. If somebody says the N-word in front of you and you're Black and you don't do something, you don't act out of character, you don't get emotional, you're not defending your race, you're not standing up for yourself. But what good? Like, this has been a loop that's been going on for years and nothing has changed. So maybe in the method that we're trying to reinforce this, the method is not working. It's just for now, the way I see it, is just a word that's being used against us, and we're just reacting emotionally. But there's never a solution. Like, it doesn't get resolved. It's the same fight we've been fighting for years. Yes, more people are aware today, and I respect the people. I'm the kind of person, any person that I would meet, if they tell me it's disrespectful, I want to respect people. So I'm gonna move a certain way, and I'm not gonna say certain things. But you're never gonna be able to guarantee that everybody does that. So for me to be able to remove the triggering aspect of the word, knowing who we are and moving forward, knowing, and just like you said, you're not surprised that he used it. We know people are racist. You can remove the N-word, but you're not going to remove racism. So why are we so attached to that specific word? There's so much more. The history is not just about the words. Our suffering is not only attached to that word. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Courtney, can I ask them a question?
Yeah.
So I want to be to Darren. I want to be clear about your stance, because in one breath you said about the intent behind the word, but then when Courtney said about the context, you said it doesn't matter. So I'm trying to figure out, which stance do you have?
No, my stance is, especially when it relates to that word, because I've done it in real time, in real life, just simply bad behavior, you check it. If I'm standing next to the Pillow Talk with Sorrel Bay, is that what that is? If I'm standing next to you and a guy is kind of getting too loud with you out of pocket, I'm gonna, hey, bro, or whatever. You check the behavior. If a white boy is standing next to me talking crazy or saying stuff that's out of pocket or off color, hey, and I've said, and I was in the military, and I would say, hey, man, you don't talk like that. Do you understand me? And I check and tighten the ass real quick. I don't put my hands on them or nothing, but it's understood you don't speak like this. If you being too loud or lewd or rude and there's women around, you check the behavior, period. Bad behavior shouldn't not go unchecked. White people know that this is an offensive word. They always want to, and again, their excuses, well, you guys say it, or blah, blah, blah. Yes, don't say it. It's not appropriate. They always want to, and again, their excuses.
But that's not the, but you right. Didn't answer my question though, because you said, when you was talking about the grocery store, and you said if somebody says the N-word and they tell you to get out of here, N-word, and they have malice intent, you said that was offensive. But when Courtney was talking about the context of using it, whether you're using it when you're, let's say, if you're teaching history or whatever the case may be, and it's within context and it's not being used in a malice intent, you said it doesn't matter either. So that's why I'm trying to figure out, what stance do you have? Do you have an overall stance that doesn't matter who it's coming from, you're going to check them, or that's what I was trying to figure out.
Yeah, again, my overall stance is, so again, I'm gonna give it, because I like to give examples sometimes for people. So if we're in a setting, say it's a work setting, and it's water cooler talk, and you with some of the fellas, they might kind of be, nigga, man, I was it, and it's like, I would even like, hey man, hey, we, hey, kind of chill out on, look where we at work. If you decide you want to talk like that, yeah, but definitely not on a forum. And I've said, and again, like I said, in the military setting, even among other Black folks, like, you shouldn't be talking like this out loud. You shouldn't be telling rude. And we know, and again, we know people are people. They do this stuff, but I'm saying certain things are not appropriate, and people know that. It's not appropriate to be saying the N-word in 2012 or 13 or 14. Anybody saying it, especially if you're a white man, I mean, they know this.
So context does matter, though. So you're saying context matters.
History, the context of that, somebody calling you an N-word and white is usually something bad is happening shortly after that, before you were called that.
Well, times have changed now and again with the Joe Rogan, and I'm going back to him because this is what it's about. So it's not about using the word to attack Black people. It's just the word itself.
But the word too is an idea. Perfect example. If a cop pulls me over and in his head I'm an N-word, I may get treated differently because of how he feels about me. He doesn't care that I'm a war veteran. He doesn't care that I'm a college graduate. He doesn't care that I'm a father. If that's all he looks at me as. And that's what I'm saying. The history behind that word, especially them using it toward us, everybody up here as Black people understands the repercussions of that being said to us, and usually when it was being said and what the intent was behind it. Right. It was something that was going to be hurtful.
Right. So
usually that went hand in hand.
Take it off the table. We're not talking about people using it as a racist term to attack you as a Black man. We're talking about the professor that wants to dive into Nas, and he has a whole album called Nigger. Is that professor not able to talk about a Nas album because it's a word and he's white?
Well, again, you have to know the temperature of the room. If I'm a professor and I got Black students, should I be bringing something up that could be polarizing? Like, again, you have to be, and again, this is one of the things in the military, you have to be universal. If I do something or give a presentation that might offend Courtney or might offend women, and I have women, like, why do it? That's my point. And that's why I'm go back to with the intent. Think about what you're doing and is this necessary for you to really do or say? If not, you shouldn't be doing it. That's my point.
How long are we going to keep this in our community as something that can't nobody say it's still going to hurt me? After hundreds of years, well, since the 1800s. And now that we've gone through Jim Crow, and now that Black people are prospering as more than ever, when is it that we're going to stop allowing this word to be so detrimental in our life?
Can I
when are we going to relinquish the power of the word nigger, where someone can say it and I'm not trying to fight them? I'm going to blow it off as if someone called me a bitch, knowing that I have so much to lose.
All I'm saying is just check the bad behavior. Whatever it is, if it's B, if it's N, or whatever, you don't have to get, because again, people are always going to say the word. And again, like I said, the thing is, because I know the history of this country, I don't get bent out of shape about it. But I'm just saying, if it's something directly that's not the form that it's just, you shouldn't be doing it, period. That's all I'm saying. Shouldn't still be doing it. We shouldn't even still have to have this discussion, but we're having it because, they still think it's cool to say, or I was just quoting somebody. It was like, but yeah, how does that look you as a white man quote? That's not real smart. Like, why would you do that? Especially now when they can go back, especially now, that's like me making a joke about the LGBT community online, knowing that would be something insensitive to say. That would be dumb for me to do. It's just being tone deaf.
They would just get mad. They would just have to get mad, because basically what you're saying is you're telling people not to be themselves and censor people because it's going to hurt somebody's feelings. There's a difference between picking on, let's say, the LGBT community and like talking down on them than just cracking a joke. That means that we have come to a spot to where we won't be able to say anything, because see, anything can be turned into offensive now, depending on wherever you come from or who it is. So when we start to get into this territory, we will suffer the most from this. And this is what Black people need to understand. They will use this to silence us. If we go down this path of silencing people or saying, well, I'm not going to say this because it may be sensitive, You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying don't be aware, but when we start going down this path, I'm trying to tell you it's a slippery slope and it will affect us greatly. I'm trying to tell you that.
You just check them. You don't silence. You don't stay silent. You just check them. Just like if I said the F word to a gay person, they will check me. The community will check me because it's wrong and it's insensitive to say. That's not them being triggered. I shouldn't be saying it, period.
I'm going to get KJ, but let me respond to AC, and I'm going to respond to you because I like you. Considering how hard you are about being on code, I'm shocked at your viewpoint on this one. Court, you know this ain't on code. What's not on code? The code is for Black communities to get better. How can we get better if a word is still hurting us and making us lose a bag? India Reed pulling her money from Spotify, pulling her music from Spotify. That means her losing money because someone said the word nigga. That's not code. How is it not being on code when I'm trying to make us stronger and want us stronger, and to not have a word used to offend us continues to since the 1800s? So this is what I'm not understanding. Code is for the betterment of the Black community, period. Now, if someone comes with you all raw with it, like, I get it. I've had my experience, like I said before, when I was 8 years old with the white truck and the white man, and it was completely uncalled for, confused as far as me being 8 years old hearing it. But what am I supposed to do with that if someone calls me a nigger? Fight? I'm supposed to beat a bitch up if a white girl calls me that? Is that better in the community, or having me out there? So now I'm with the assault. Like, I want us to grow. We can't grow if we still hurt from shit that happened back in the day of 1800. I can't grow from that. So this is what I guess I'm just not understanding why we give this word so much power, as if we're still enslaved. We have the power to change it. We have the power to not let it affect us, because let me tell you, once it doesn't affect us, they can't use it anymore to hurt us. That's all I'm trying to say. Quit giving these white folks power of a word to hurt you still. KJ?
Peace.
Hi. What you
Now,
got for us?
Courtney?
Yes.
You know I got major love for you.
God, you can disagree with me. That's fine.
I'm talking about, no, you know, and see, I ain't gonna unsubscribe to you. See, I had to unsubscribe to it.
It is so weird. Everyone is not gonna agree with me. This ain't a platform for everyone to agree.
I'm gonna let you have, because see, this is one of those teachable moments, right? And see, I was taught long time ago that the word nigga in itself has a spiritual connection to Black people because it comes from the word negus. Nigger is the anonym of negus. Negus means like ruler, king, leader, all of those terms. So this is a spirit. See, this is a spiritual matter. We're at a spiritual war right now. And we're at war with white supremacy on a physical level. And when the sister was like, you're being off code, I can totally agree with her on this, because for the simple fact, when I did my own research of this Joe Rogan cat, because I wouldn't dare listen to the white dude. I'm pro-Black. It's just certain stuff I don't use to entertain my mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feed my mind certain stuff, you know? But I did my research, and it took me straight to the scene where he was talking about the apes. And then he went into the movie theater and he looked around. They was in this new neighborhood, and he asked the man, was it a good neighborhood? I didn't find nothing funny about that. And then he said when he went into the theater and he looked around, he said they went to see Planet of the Apes, but they were surrounded by apes. They were in Planet of the Apes. So when this white man, when he said that, the first thing that I could recognize is that was racist. I don't care how you flip it. He can have a stepdaughter, stepson, whatever he had. He can have a Black wife. They can still be racist. I've worked for racist white people. They paid me money. It doesn't change. The narrative doesn't change. Listen, the system of white supremacy, one thing about this power structure, it changes its narrative as it does. What we haven't figured out is that we need to be able to change the narrative as we do. When we start claiming ourselves to be FBA, they start recognizing us as FBA now. They was calling us African Americans. They were saying that we was from a whole continent of Africa and from the country of America. Now that we tell them, hey, look, we're from here. We're from the foundation that built this country. What are you talking about? You can't displace us.
Facts.
So when we start to push our own narrative, because you are the black media, Courtney, you are the black media, just like the other people that I follow. We're the black media. We're the ones that have to change the narrative. When we get on their narrative and say, well, hey, well, why do we care about the word? The reason we care about the word because there's a spiritual connection to it, and they say it to us out of disrespect. Now, when we say it, yeah, we say it as a term of endearment, but me, myself, I try to refrain from using that word because collectively I have been impacted by white supremacy. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm far removed or I'm far above, like I'm not one of you guys. We all face the same dilemma. We are all in the same shoes. When they say be on code, that means, hey, the narrative is he said something messed up. We need to be trying to shut him down. That boy Amir Locke got killed in his house. That is open season again. He wasn't even the person they were looking for.
Right.
You know, it's open season again. They sell it. They're putting crack pipes in our community now. They put the money that they were supposed to be giving us for reparations, and they put that towards crack pipes. Mm-hmm. See, it's open season again. See, they feel like we've been dumbed and drummed down because we've been following all their mandates and they're putting the mask on and all that. Well, they're going to get in line. So I understand where you're coming from when we want to talk about the word in itself. Okay, the word in itself is a derogatory term. True indeed. I feel like we should leave it alone. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, when it comes to them saying it, there's a whole different level of them saying it. See, one thing I know about white supremacy, they're conniving and they're cunning. They'll tell you, hey, you're good. And still, they will call the police on you when you're walking out the door.
Okay.
So I'm just giving it to you raw real. You my folks. I love you.
Well, yeah, and it's okay. And we're going to disagree. And for me, that's not me policing people and policing a term. That does not make me want to kill someone if I'm called that. I've been called that before. I've been called a bitch before. Mm-hmm. I've been called a lot of names before. It don't have the power over me, and I don't give none of this shit power over me. Mm-hmm. But so I don't think what you say to me cannot hurt me.
Can I just let you know personally, for me, it doesn't bother me at all. Like personally, because I don't want you to be the voice of the black community that say that we are hurt by this word. I don't think so. We're not bothered. We're not hurt to the extent we know where it's coming from when they say it. We know where they're coming from, and when we got people caping and covering for them, then that's what we get hurt about. We get hurt by because we got to argue with our own people about a word that we know that they're using in a racist way, and then we got our own people trying to defend them.
That's a little.
Hold on. It's a difference bit understanding, not censoring someone and defending. Now, if I was, it's context. Hold on, I'm going to get Hakeem too. Context matters to me. So if a white person were to say, yeah, that Nas, it's nigger show, what am I supposed to do? Slap his ass?
Am I ain't gonna say that though, Courtney. They ain't gonna say that.
Hold on. I'm gonna get you, Russell. Okay. Let me get Hakeem first, and then I'm gonna get you, Russell, because he's been waiting. Okay.
Hey, Courtney, how are you?
Good, Hakeem. How are you?
I'm doing okay. So I want to shift the focus a little bit to this conversation, and then I think what we have to look at and observe is, with the word itself, we have to look at other oppressed groups in this country, and if there's certain terms that they don't allow others to call them, and what happens when people publicly call them those terms. Now, there's two groups that come to mind. There's the LGBTQ and there's the small hats. We know what happens when we speak out of term or say anything bad. I mean, case in example, look what happened to Nick Cannon when he had his conversation. I forgot who he had it with, where he almost had to go do a cowtail just because of what he did.
Right.
And
it was with Professor
he didn't
Griff.
say now he didn't say anything of any context or of anything that should be taken a certain way, but no one came up to them. No one dares comes up to them and says, wait, why do you look at it that way? They don't even have this discussion in their internal community. That's what I guess I want you guys to understand. So the whole point, now the other part people in the panel may not agree with this. If we need to be taken that seriously. And what we need to do is move the needle where we get taken that seriously. And in order for us to do that, we just have to stop using the word. But that word isn't going away because it's sadly part of popular culture, and it's not going away. Unless we take it away from the music, which it's not happening, and unless the artists, say, we're not going to do this anymore, it's not happening. And in order for us, because I think that's where you guys are trying to get to, we shouldn't be allowing people to say it, but then at the same time, we shouldn't be saying it ourselves, and especially in front of other people. Like, it doesn't matter that I'm Black. I don't allow anyone in my family, my younger siblings, my friends, they have enough respect for me where I don't allow them to say that word. And I think we need to kind of get to that, because if we're going to do apples to apples, we have to do it the way those other groups do it. And you're just simply not going to find them calling themselves that word. And if they do, they're not going to do it amongst other people. That's the point I guess I want us to look at. I think if we look at it that way, it rings clear.
Yeah, and I agree with that. So if you don't want white folks saying it, then don't you say it. Because at the end of the day, they'll call a Hispanic person a wetback. But I'd be damned if I've never heard a Spanish song, hola, or at the back. No, they don't say that. They don't call each other that, the whole. And let's talk about the Jewish community and the whole Whoopi Goldberg thing. They didn't have to get on the news to say nothing because they own shit. You suspended. Goodbye. Right. That was it. They don't have to do that because they own the shit. So if they don't like you for saying anything negative, goodbye. You're done. That's it.
Exactly. Instead of complaining, we should be working to gain that power to then, because it's almost like we don't have the power to enforce, to impose people not to use it. We use it. There's a lot of confusion. We don't have, like you said, they have the power. They just hit one button, you're gone. We're always complaining. We're coming off as very confused.
All over the place.
Courtney.
Yeah, we're all over the place.
Yes. And then I'm gonna get Russell. Yes.
So check this out. What I was gonna say was this. The reason that thing with Whoopi Goldberg, right? Those are white people. Regardless, Jews not a race. So at the end of the day, when we want to break it all the way down unto the systematic racism, we know what the dominant society does and how the dominant society operates. People are trying to play checkers against each other, but we trying to play chess over here, man. We got to get on code with the narrative. We got to change the whole narrative. If we don't want you saying it, we need to stand on that. All that, well, we shouldn't say it either. One thing about it, if we're the ones that are going to enforce something, everybody else will start falling in line.
You can't enforce the word. You cannot enforce the word. If someone says it, then what you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
I tell you what. Mm-hmm. There doesn't have to be a hostile reaction to everything. I don't know. Like, everybody doesn't go to the streets and grab guns when somebody says something. All I'm saying is being on code and enforcing something. Enforcing means we can all be in agreement together. That's what I'm saying. Like, the narrative, we have to change the narrative. Like, once they got on code with Whoopi Goldberg and say, oh, she said something wrong. That lady said the truth up there. She told that the Holocaust was not about race. She told the truth. It was about white on white crime. They don't want you pointing their narratives out. So once you point their narrative out, okay, let her put her in her place. She's still black. That's a nigga. That's how they treated her like one. The Nigger one, not the A one. You know, not the one that rode with Tupac in my picture.
But here's the whole point of the matter that I think needs to be understood. When you we just have to stop using the word, and I think whatever it may take to bring that power, because the whole thing is about power respecting power. We have no power right now. And the only reason why they may cancel someone is not because, okay, we force them to, it's just to paint a narrative, what so have you. And the problem is that we have to, it's going to take time. And like I said, it's so ingrained in popular culture that it's not going to go away in our generation. But the way to do that is we have to move the needle. We have to start thinking differently. And the thing is, if we, the solution is not allowing people to say it. Because if you allow people to say it, it's like a domino effect. Other things start to seep in. As you guys are aware of, they're starting to commonly, you find teachers doing slave narratives and having children enact them. That's becoming the norm now. And people are being outraged and saying, okay, why are they doing that? But I just want to call to you guys' attention, these sort of things are happening. And in order for us to move the narrative, we just have to think critically. And the way to do it is you're not going to like it, but we just got to stop it. And whether it comes to, them, and you, like they said, you can't have people stop doing it, especially when you're not there in front of them. But if you, as an individual, says to yourself, not only am I not going to do it, but I'm not going to allow people around me to do it. That's all you can do as an individual. But like Courtney says, you're not going to be able to stop them to do it.
Yeah. Let me get Russell. How are you? Thanks for hanging out. And then I'll get you to AT.
Well, I think what the problem is, simply the problem is, black people don't understand, or this young generation, I don't know whether they know or don't know. When they used to say that word, a black person was being hung behind that word. So when the rappers say, I use it as a term of endearment, they really mean that. And you know that. When somebody of another race say that, you know they coming from I can't say they coming from a place of ignorance, because one thing I want to know, why you don't know your history? You know what you did for centuries. You used that word for centuries. I understand if it was just 20 years, 10 years, but you used that word for centuries. And you did some inhumane shit. There are people behind that word. So when we say don't use the word, don't use the word. It's just that simple. I don't got to explain to you why not to use that word. You're not going to say that in front of my mama, in front of my daughter. That would not be accepted.
Yeah, I just
now, my ancestors had to take it. They had to take it. I would not take it. You would not disrespect me. Period.
I just think that sometimes that it's a little dangerous to try to speak for someone else. So as far as intent, like we don't know what somebody's thinking, and we use the word all the time, and it's crazy that we're saying that we're putting blame on somebody else and trying to go off of feelings and how something makes us feel. But we have bigger issues to deal with rather than dealing with this. Like our as a whole, our people are fighting each other more than anything else. We're falling apart, and our families aren't even together, and we're worrying about this. We need to get ourselves together as a whole, And I'm 30. I'm younger than a lot of people in here, but I work with a lot of old fools that blamed other races for what they went through, and I just don't think that that's the thing that we need to be promoting. We just need to be the best examples we can be.
Nobody said promote that. They didn't say promote.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that what you're just saying right now is saying you're basically talking about someone's intent. You're going based off of somebody saying something and saying that that where they're coming from.
Do you know what his intent was?
I don't know, and I'm not speaking on that. You the one that said it.
Okay, so I can take it how I want to take it.
Okay, but in that turn, somebody can say something and say it how they want to say it then.
But that's why it's so important. That's why it's so important to know the history of this country and about that word. Again, what he's saying, the point he's making, usually when that word was used, the intent was it was bad, it was malice behind it.
But it's not changing anything. Regardless, that's not changing anything. That's not changing the needle on anything. Just talking about how the history of something. That if they were saying it then, they're saying it now. What is the issue now? You get what I'm saying?
If you don't know where you came from, young blood, you ain't gonna know where you're going.
Right. Just listen.
That's one thing why they're trying to take.
Okay, I get what I'm trying to. I guess I'm about to get off, but I'm gonna just say this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that we've been using that since I was a young boy. Since I was young, I've been hearing this all of my life. And the same people that's saying that, they're not changing the same thing that we've been going through, we're going through, because we're not changing anything. We're worrying about what somebody else thinks about us rather than what we think about ourselves. Like forget all of that. We need to figure out what we got going on. Don't worry about what they got to say about you, because if they think that, then guess what? You can't change what they think. You cannot change what they think, not one bit. If they're racist, they're going to be racist.
Until it comes to your house, it does matter.
Okay.
That's the
Okay.
point we're making.
What you mean? Hold. And I'm gonna say this because I work with a lot of white people. I stay in Wisconsin. I'm around a bunch of white people. Now they could be racist, but nobody has approached me with it. Nobody has said it. And now when they come up to my door, then I'll deal with that. But I cannot have a preemptive strike based off of the chance that somebody might do something to me.
We're not saying that. I'm just saying, just be aware. No, I'm saying be aware, brother. Listen to what I'm saying. You told us you're 30. Listen, just be aware that, and I'm not saying it to either. I don't look for it, but I have an understanding and I know the history of it and the history of this country, and been a black man all my life. There's things and certain thoughts that people have that's associated with that word that has malice intent behind it. That's all. We're not yet. Do whatever. But I'm saying,
I was just speaking to the subject of a black person saying it and a white person saying it.
Okay. And then let me respond to this, because I'm not sure, sometimes y'all come up with the most interesting ideas. There's not a person on this panel that said being called a nigga by a white man is respectful. Not a soul on this platform.
That's how some of y'all responding though.
No, it's not. And this is the thing, that because we're not listening to, we're trying to hear to respond. And again, we're taking it off this subject of with Joe Rogan. He didn't call you a nigga. He didn't call me a nigga. He didn't call that nigga over there. He was using it in a context of replaying what someone has said. And then asking about the word. Well, when we say the word nigger, it has this connotation to it. This word is this. It is an offensive word. He was talking about the word. He wasn't calling anyone out their name. He wasn't pointing at anyone being disrespectful. He just said the word. So
what about the 8 part, Courtney?
Well, we can talk about that. But right now,
Well, what you think if you think he'll discuss CRT?
Hold on. What I'm saying is the word. We can't keep moving it around. What I'm saying is the word. It doesn't matter if it's going to disrespect you or even if they saying it in a rap song. The essence is black folks don't want people to say the word, period. And because of that, it has a lot of power in our community.
And I agree 100%. And one last thing I want to add before I drop off. I'm tired of hearing everyone say when we use it as a term of endearment. Have you heard some of these songs when rappers use them? You niggas ain't shit. You ain't nah. I'ma kill you. It's extremely violent.
Everybody know that's fake music.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's fake or not. It's still being used. The word is used derogatory, period.
Yeah, the narrative is like complete. So whenever I hear us saying that, it's like we're being violent against each other and we're embracing that It's like, oh no, we can use it. It's all love. It's not love. When we call each other the N-word, not all the time. Sometimes in some cases, they'll be like, oh, that's my N or whatever. But a lot of times it's super disrespectful. It's violent. And that's where it starts. You can't ask to clean up other people's, other races using the word when ours is toxic.
Everybody benefits off of the oppression of black people over here in this country. I don't care what nobody say. We are the only ones taught to be anti-racist, to love and accept everybody, to have open arms and kumbaya, my Lord, with everybody on the fronts. But when it comes to situations like this one, about just being on code. See, I'm just on code. I'm just trying to, hey, look, I'm down to take a white man down. You feel me? Just for using the word. I'm on code. I don't care about the, he can use it all he want to. But when I see my people rising up saying, hey, let's do something. Let's stand up. I'm like, okay, go ahead. Because see, when we start doing that, we can start doing more. It's when we all come together and start conquering something and start to achieve, because we got to achieve them small things. You feel what I'm saying? Like, we ain't even getting no code on that.
Or what? We can't even get our families together, and we worried about Joe Rogan saying the word nigga.
Hold up now. It's some families together. What you talking about? White media, listen, white media pimps. Listen, Courtney.
I'm not talking about white media, black media. I'm talking about our black nuclear family.
They are getting together. What you talking about? I see a lot of couples together. Families. No, they
the overwhelming majority
they promote to us that toxic
can't make
stuff.
Somebody marry.
They make money off of it.
Hold on. It's not about promotion. It's about what is.
They pimp that stuff to us. Just like, remember what the little brother just said over there. He said, I grew up that's all they did. Yeah, that's because that's what they feed us on TV. So we imitate that stuff at home.
Leave TV alone. Let's leave TV alone. And look at how let's leave TV alone.
And I was speaking out of what was real. Yeah.
Hold on if I can. Let's leave TV alone.
Go ahead.
And when we look at our community, and as a black woman that is on code, but however has a child out of wedlock, and having to see my daughter go back and forth because I decided to have sex before marriage and have a child, and now she's going back and forth to her father, and I'm worried about Joe Rogan saying nigga.
Well, Courtney, you chose that.
We have a lot of work to do, period, and that's a fact. And it's nothing wrong with saying it. It's a fact. It's being accountable for ourselves. We have a lot of work to do. And I don't think that this is a fight that's worth fighting for off a man saying nigga when there's so much more. And then it shows us being emasculated as a community when we get all up in arms and crying off somebody saying nigga.
No.
So Courtney, you telling me we're gonna be able to make couples get married?
No, you can't make anyone do anything, but what you can do is not promote it and be excited about it and then push it in our music.
I didn't have no problem with WAP because they said WAP. That don't mean they married. It didn't mean nothing because they wasn't married.
WAP is disgusting. That video is atrocious.
Listen, this is
as a mother with a 6-year-old daughter. It's disgusting.
Get away from the TV, Courtney.
I am away from the TV.
Yeah, but it's not all about.
It doesn't exist.
It's not all about programming. You know, there's just a cop out that a lot of people use. People can't program you to do nothing that you're not already doing. So basically, all they do is bring out what's already in you. You're already doing it, and so they're just showing the reflection of it. Now, do they overly do it to give us the wrong idea? Yeah, they do it about any race. This is why we have stereotypes of Chinese people, Asian people, white people. Like, we have all these stereotypes because they push it that way. But it's still up to us to educate ourselves about what's happening. So we can't use that as an excuse, because what it does is it takes responsibility off of us. And as long as you give people a way out, they will never educate themselves to say, hey, even though I'm seeing what I'm seeing on TV, is this real life? Or is some of it true? or are they doing too much? So I think we got to be careful when we just placing the blame on everybody else but yourself.
Man, that brother too far gone for me.
No, I'm not.
Hey, where you from, bro? Are you from Maryland?
Right
I hear you say
I'm from
you and you.
I'm from North
Oh,
Carolina.
okay.
I'm from the South.
I'm from the
Oh, okay.
South, the
All right.
real South.
Well, a lot of people here is from the real South. I'm from the South. And here's what's great about Black people, because we push this, we're not a monolith, but we all have different ideas. I think it's super lame that the chat be on, not just talking this one, but the chat, I
From the
can't
ATL.
believe. We're all different. We all grew up differently. We all have different views. The idea is to have these hard discussions about things. We can have it civilly. We can have it respectful, but it doesn't mean someone is a coon if they disagree. It's just how they were brought up and what they believe is right. For me, being a code means for empowerment. You can't empower a culture by having a word to disembody all of it when someone says it. That's me.
We understand that
has
too,
no
Courtney.
power over me. When I hear Joe Rogan say, "Nigga, I didn't get triggered," I was like, "Oh, okay, so what's he saying this for? What is this about?" And then I looked into it. And then I saw India Reed get triggered. And then I'm like, well, that's interesting, because what she needs to be up in arms with, but no one wants to talk about the clip that I showed with Justin Bieber singing nigga, 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 KKK. No one said nothing about that. She's still on Apple, on Apple and her music. That man had a whole song singing nigga, nigga. If I kill one, I'll be a part of the KKK, but not a soul is saying nothing about that.
Yeah, you just
And
check.
here's
Like I
and
said,
here's the thing.
you check it.
Go
He's a
ahead,
little
Derek.
dirtbag. But what I was getting ready to say is we just have to understand and be able to do both. We can police our communities and check people who disrespect us or out of pocket, period. We don't have to do one at a time. When you clean up your house, you clean up the bathroom, you clean all the rooms up. Just we'll continue working on ourselves and fixing people who are perceived threats or whatever. That's it. There's not one or the other. We fix our communities, what we supposed to be doing, and let other people know, no, this is not appropriate. You don't need to be saying it. It's not being in our feelings. We're defending ourselves just like any other group of people would do. Because again, that's why I used the example earlier. If I said the F word to the gay community, or they will check you like they're supposed to. No, sir, you don't do that. You're not in this community. You don't need to be talking about that. Period. I can still do that. We can still do what we're doing over here as Black people and make sure people understand that no, this is not how you act. Period.
And I think, Derek,
Like
here's
they
the problem
did David Chappelle.
Here's the
See
problem
that
that I
energy
noticed,
David
though.
Chappelle got? That energy David Chappelle got.
What?
He
Yeah.
got that energy because he said the energy David Chappelle got was because he said that a gay white person can be racist. And that was true. A gay white person can be racist. And we was all born from a woman. They saying we all wasn't born from no woman. You wasn't born from no man either.
Dave Chappelle spoke the truth, man. And that's a lot of things. See, we try to use these similarities and compare stuff. Listen, like I said, I'm only trying to support. Look, put it like this. Just say the Grand Wizard Wright was in the middle of the street. Perfect scenario. They were stumping him out. You think I'm just gonna walk by and not stump him out neither? That's what I am. I'm just down. You feel what I'm saying? I'm on code. All this other stuff. I'm on code.
Yeah, I'm on code too.
But hold on, that's you.
We all on code.
But the fact that I wouldn't stump nobody out doesn't mean I don't love being Black.
You're a woman, you shouldn't.
Yeah, you ain't got to do that. We'll do that.
Okay.
But here's the issue.
Just because another Black man doesn't want to stump another man out because he's human, regardless of if he's racist or not, doesn't mean that he doesn't love being Black.
I said
they stopped our ancestors out, Courtney.
Okay, hold on, Russell. This has nothing really to do with being on code or not. This is if you think that word is powerful enough to affect you by someone saying it that's not even saying it to you. Does that word have enough power to make me upset?
No.
My catalog when someone mentions the word nigga.
No.
Okay.
You're right. I don't.
If
It don't bother
it
me
don't
like
have
that.
that much, then how is that not? It has nothing to do with code.
I'm just on code.
I had
Courtney,
that
I'm
word has no
hold on.
power. Okay.
Until it hits home,
Hold on,
guys.
Hold on. Let me get Mr. Know-It-All.
I'm sorry, I have to drop off, but
thank
you so much, Courtney, for having me. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming up.
Salute to all of
thank
you. Bye.
Bye. Okay, let me get Mr. Know-It-All.
Hey, Courtney, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm good.
What you got?
As far as the power of the N-word, here's the thing. We're damned if we do or we're damned if we don't, right? Because everything we do is going to be seen as indicative of our entire community. So if somebody says the N-word and we check them, we're too sensitive. We're too easily triggered. If we don't, now we're too docile. To me, as an individual, treat it however you want. If you want to not let it bother you, or if you want to punch somebody in the face, it's up to you. But it's not just the word itself. It's also the connotation, right? There was a time when it just meant black. It was just a literal descriptor for our skin color. And it became negative because it was connotations of black inferiority were attached to the word. So now when you see black people using it, they either use it in maybe a neutral sense or in a positive sense. I do believe that the word out of certain people's mouths and in certain situations can have a different connotation. It's not always negative. Now, in Joe Rogan's situation, I didn't chase down every clip from that compilation, so I don't know what he was talking about. I'll assume for the moment there was context that he wasn't being derogatory. But when you then play a clip of him talking about Planet of the Apes and how he went to a movie theater and it was like he walked into Planet of the Apes, that kind of lends credibility to the fact that maybe in his previous uses of the N-word, even if he wasn't using it as a racial slur, he might have been like, have you ever met one of those white people who like, they seem like they delight in any opportunity they get to say the N-word without repercussion?
Yep.
I kind of got that feeling from him.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was like, okay, here's an opportunity I get to say it, and I'm going to say it because this is a chance for me to say it without people thinking I'm racist. So I don't know. I want to know what you guys think about that, because I've met people who will try to use the N-word in a pseudo academic way because they think like this is an opportunity for me to say it without getting socked in the face.
Hey,
it's
I'm
no
gonna say
different
this
than
and I'm
it's
gonna go,
no.
Courtney.
Yeah, you
I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
say this and I'm gonna go, Courtney.
Okay.
Do you think Joe Rogan will discuss the Berlin situation? Do you think he'll discuss CRT?
I don't know what he's going to discuss.
He said he wanted to have a discussion. I was just asking, do you think he'll discuss something like that?
From what I've watched, Joe Rogan, I don't think anything that is off limits to him. From what I've seen.
Okay. All right. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you so much for coming up, Russell. I appreciate you.
But can I respond to Mr. Know-It-All right quick?
Please.
So, Mr. Know-It-All, peace, brother. It's an honor for you, to have a dialogue with a brother such as educated like you, the brother Hakeem, and Old School that was just on, and Derek, and the other people that have been coming and gracing this panel. And it's most definitely a pleasure to be on here with Courtney. I only support Courtney because she was on code defending black men when she was over there at the Peep Network.
Oh yeah.
When they call our culture trash, when the dude called our culture trash and went in like double down on it, you know what I'm saying? And now these same people, when they was about to cancel their platform, I remember, man, they was about to cancel their platform because something had got shown on the screen, and they had asked for the help of black people, the community. to help them. But this was the same show that said that they were not a black show, right?
These
So
are facts.
I mashed that unsubscribe button real fast. And I said, wherever Courtney go, wherever she pop up at, I'm going to support her. Now, I ain't going to say I'm having doubts today. Maybe, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to just say maybe she's looking at it from the India Ari perspective because she came in from that angle. And I get it. That maybe can be an angle to come in from. But the way you just laid it out, and the way I had perceived it, I perceived that as this is one of those white guys that when he can use the word and get away with it, and it be like they real slick, they'll use it on you, and you be thinking they all right, but he really saying it in a derogatory term. Like, you know that term when the white dude called a black man boss, right? Y'all ever been called boss by a white man?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's an insult. You know, that's an insult. We understand the dynamic of systematic manipulation and the tricks, you know, to hide their hand, change the narrative, you know, because that's what they try to do. It's all about the narrative that they control. We're the only ones that are taught to be anti-racist.
Well,
Not that we're
the only ones who are taught to be anti-racist, but we also have been we've also been convinced to teach anti-racism, right? Like now we're the biggest opponents of it as well. And I'm not saying that we should be racist. I'm not saying that, but I don't know. It bothers me in a sense when I see that how easily it's. I'm on the fence in a way. Like we should be triggered by it. We should not allow people to disrespect us. But at the same time, when we get people know that we're that easily triggered, and so they use us to their benefit, right? Like if you look at this last election, nobody was really preaching what they were, not in any concrete way, what they were going to do for us as black people. It was, look at what Joe Biden said. He said, if you don't vote for him, you're not black. He's racist. And then they're like, oh yeah, well, look what Trump said. He said this and that makes him racist. And it's like they just know that we're not going to stand with racist. So they appeal to this base, you know, they appeal to like our instincts rather than our intellect. And that part of it, I do kind of resent. And that's why when it comes to Joe Rogan, kind of like, you know, yeah, even if what he said offended you, you kind of got to think, why now? You know, why now are they trying to get us to complete what they failed to do? They tried to cancel this man and failed.
That's one of the things that I said at the beginning, is that because this word is so loaded and emotional within our community, it is used to push a narrative that they can't. Again, like I said at the very beginning, Joe Rogan's been on this on his platform for over 12 years. Some of the stuff that he was saying was back in I think 2010, 2011. Nothing. And then he started talking about vaccinations and they couldn't cancel him. Then all of a sudden it's a montage that came out, and this is where we're at now. If
and where did it come from? Who made it? How did it get in India Ari's hands?
So I don't know who made the montage. I have not a clue, but she got it and then went for it.
Isn't that suspicious though? Isn't that suspicious though?
But
somebody dug through all his material.
He has been on his platform. No one has said a soul thing to this man.
Cause I don't watch him, so I would have probably
done a lot of black. He has over 2 million subs.
And you know how many toe tappers listen to that dude, man? Okay. I'm talking about they happily support this guy.
However, I want to respond to this, and this also goes for you from your last comment, what you said about me and Catherine. Okay, blah, blah, blah. I don't agree with everything that she says, and that's completely fine. This is not a cult. It is not. You're not going to agree with everything that I think. This is not an echo chamber. I've said this before. I don't want this platform to be a whole bunch of Negroes chopping it up and just having a good old discussion about everything that we agree with. because that's not how Black America is. We don't agree all the time. We need intelligent Black folks to give their opinion on things that matter. And it's going to be different, but that's how you change things, by getting other people's opinion. Everybody's not going to think like me. Everyone's not going to think like you. And it's okay. But why do you come up with
even.
What do you think? Why is it that you think this way? This is not a code. I don't want an echo chamber. I don't want everybody on here agreeing with me. That's not what I made this platform for. Is to have good dialogue like this.
We should be agreeing with you.
No, why?
I don't think you should.
I thought you was on cold today.
That ain't cold. You just agreeing with me. Every Black person shouldn't be freaking soldiers and just, I don't have a mind. I agree with you say. I'll do what you do. No, that's not how we grow. That's not how we grow. You need a Tupac mentality along with a W.E.B. Du Bois.
No.
You need those.
Courtney know a little bit. WD.
But that's the only issue, you know, because I agree with certain things you say, JoJo, in certain aspects. But the only issue that I have a lot of times when we having these conversations is that if we don't agree, that's fine. But it's usually like, when you talk about that you're going to unsubscribe, I can understand if somebody just completely just downing their race. They're just completely down their race. Okay, that's fine. But let's say someone like Courtney, because you have a different thought pattern or whatnot, not about everything, just about certain things, to say, well, I think I might unsubscribe or not want to deal with you anymore. That is cult-like mentality. And I can never align with somebody who has that mentality, because if I come up under your camp or your leadership, and as soon as I say, I might not agree with that, heck, you're gonna stop me out. You're gonna kick me out. You're gonna disown me. And so we can't, I'm not finished. We can't have that mentality as Black people to do that, because you can't on one hand say, well, we're not a monolith, but then want us to act like a monolith at the same time in our thinking. This is the same thing with the Democratic Party. Everybody must be Democrat because you're Black. It's the same type of mentality that we continue to perpetuate, just in a different way. So I just think that we got to do away with that. Because you can always learn from somebody, and you always want to know, just like with Joe Rogan, and I'm gonna say it's gonna be done with Joe Rogan. It's not about the N-word. We get caught up in this. He said the N-word. That's not why they're trying to cancel him. They're trying to cancel him because his platform is becoming so big that the media networks and all these people want power over people, and they don't have that same power, and he's gaining traction. So he's becoming a big voice. It's almost like if Courtney was to, get 300 million followers, and now more people are tuning into her. Now the media and the people, the elites, are losing power at that point. And so because they want to maintain power, they have to do any and everything to discredit you. They would do it to anybody. Because when you're at that status of being an elite, and you talk about money and power, it has no color. It has no color. So they would take anyone down. It doesn't matter who you are. And I think sometimes we miss that point because we're so focused on this small segment of something when there's a bigger picture to actually look at. And I think that's what we actually got to start focusing more of, because other than that, they will get us every single time, regardless.
Hey, so in response to you, I get it. I understand. I dig it. I didn't say I was gonna unsubscribe to Courtney.
No, I didn't say you would. I didn't say you would.
No. We ain't even gonna play that right there, because she stood up too tall, 10 toes down, when Black men were being attacked, and our people were under attack. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I appreciate it, Courtney.
She was B1 all day, so she got a friend for life in me. I understand. I'm mature enough to understand, bro, that we ain't gonna agree on everything. But like I say, I think I'm a little bit more seasoned in this area of systematic oppression and white supremacy. So when you say things like the elites are pushing that. They can snatch his panel just like that. That's a game. If you think that he got power, it's the elites that gave him that power. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, that all this stuff on the lower level, that we trying to make it seem like it's a conspiracy about the vaccine and all that. Man, I don't care about that, John. We been know that stuff wasn't real. Well, if you took it, that was on you. But at the end of the day, I didn't. So, check it out. I respect everybody's point of view and stuff like that, but I don't have to subscribe to people that don't align with me on a mental, spiritual, and level of blackness. So I put my people first. She put her people first. That's why I mess with Courtney. So that's why it wouldn't be no, well, I'm unsubscribed. No, she still put her folk first. This just about the word, the N word. You know what I'm saying? And like I'm trying to remove that from my vocabulary myself. Like I'm trying to stop cussing all together. You feel me? Like, because I feel that I can open more doors. You know what I'm saying? Go to more places. I can converse with more people. You feel me? Because I know I have a vernacular and a vocabulary that is extensive. I just choose not to use it sometimes. But I'm gonna just, much love. Hey, I appreciate that, Lamar, though. That was a good conversation. And I feel where you're coming from, bro. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I don't believe in this government. I'm pro-black, my brother. Foundation of Black America, man. Black first, be one. Stay up, stay out. I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.
I'll talk to you later. Thank you.
All right, Courtney. Thanks for having me.
I can say one thing
right,
too about. Sorry. If I could say one thing too about being on code, Malcolm and Martin weren't on the same page, but I would say that they were both on code. Being on code to me just means that in your heart and in your best intentions, you're for the improvement of the Black community. We don't have to agree on how it gets done. And as a matter of fact, I think it's better that we don't agree, because none of us has the proven solution, right? All hypothetical at this point.
I'm gonna have to stop you right. Go ahead, Courtney.
One thing though.
Well, hold on. Keep that, because I want to introduce some people, and I'm so excited that Jay Prince came along. Hi, JP.
Hey, Courtney, how are you?
Doing good. Thank you for coming. What do you have to say? And then I'm going to get the other two that came in as well too. But what you got to say about
Okay, my thing is with the N word. We give it a lot of power because we give white people power.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like no difference from the standard of beauty. They determine the standard of beauty within our women. Like our women is not too much concerned about of how we think they beautiful. They mainly like they want the white people approval. That's the same thing with the N word. I rather get called the N word than get treated like one. But we don't concentrate on that part. We don't concentrate on how we getting treated. We get treated like the N word all the time. But we so worry about the word. Fuck the word. Let's work on changing how we getting treated first. Then we can work on the word. But my biggest thing is this: the problem with us Black people. And I just gotta keep all the way funky with it. We too soft. We soft as fuck. We the only race on the planet don't stand up for nothing, and we get treated the worst. And the most thing we'll do is we'll get to start blaming each other for how we getting treated by other races of people. Well, maybe they didn't do that to me. Maybe you should work on your behavior. Maybe you need to do this. All those are fear tactics. Ain't no other race of people, even if they lose a war. Ain't nobody else on the planet of Earth gonna sit up there and allow white people, I'm being blunt, white people treat them that way without a fight. We the only ones getting punked every day. And not just in America. They punking us even in our own continent. All over, everywhere you go, every time you see a Black person, they get punked by a lighter version. I think we need to stop work. If I like to say this, if the religion is keeping us this damn soft, two wrongs don't make it right. All of this, two wrongs don't make it right. Turn the other cheek. We the only people that will get punched in our face by another race, and we get to start singing and dancing. How you think we got gospel music?
That's not true though.
But no, but we don't have the same smoke. Like if I guarantee you, if I go to any one of y'all black communities where there's a lot of black folks, and I start talking shit or doing whatever, motherfuckers gonna holler at me. But white people can come in and do whatever the hell they want to.
Right. We
You ain't
always
gonna do a
gangster
goddamn
with
thing about it.
we always gangster with each other, right? And that's why I was saying earlier, you check them. It don't matter. It's not being sensitive or nothing like that. Let him know, hey, bro, you don't say that. You as a white man, especially. Don't nobody need to understand it, but especially you. That's why I was saying earlier.
Hey, Gary, I want to say this. There was a black girl, I think that was in Houston or something. I guess they was in a parking spot. They was fighting over the parking. She was arguing over it. It was her spot, and the white man pulled up. He wanted the spot. I guess he took it first. This dude was punching on that black woman like I'm talking about punching on her like she was like in UFC, just beating the hell out of her. He went to jail and got right out. It was her next door neighbor. Nah, he out. She's still there. Ain't nothing happening to him. Now think about this. Why I say this. Why I blame my black men. That man ain't worrying about black men coming to hop on his ass for that. I guarantee you, all us black men know, you better not touch a white woman. You better not touch a Puerto Rican woman. You better not touch a Mexican woman. Why? Because they men gonna come and holler at you.
Right.
We the only ones that they can just fuck with our women and don't nothing happen. We can start blaming. Well, maybe you need to shut up. Maybe you need to quit talking so much. You saying that because you a coward. We the only ain't nowhere in the world somebody touch our women. They people supposed to be scared when our women walk past. We ain't gonna fuck with her because them niggas gonna come. We don't do nothing. I hate to take it from the topic about the N-word, but let's call a spade a spade. We act like it. We shit. They call us whatever. That's how we act. We so scared. And then they always tell us black people is the strongest people on the planet. I never seen it. All I see is number submission from our men. Submission, that's it. And we try to come up with strategies and try to be submissive in this country. We don't act no different from our women. This is the reason why our black women do not respect us, because we land on our backs getting fucked just as well as she is. We ain't no different. That's why we didn't give her nothing to respect.
All right now. JB, hold that thought. I'm gonna play a clip.
I'll respond to that.
Yeah, go ahead, respond. I'm gonna play a clip and then I want to get, is it Hink 75? I'm gonna get you, and then I'm gonna get
I got off top of it a little bit. It was just hitting on that stuff was heavy on me. It was too heavy on my chest.
I mean, you spit straight fire. I feel you, JP.
But
go
it's
ahead,
not
Mr.
true,
Know-It-All.
man. It's not true. All right.
Okay.
They dropped 2 nukes on Japan. What did Japan ever do about that?
Nothing.
They never apologized. To this day, they feel it's justified that the Japanese do anything. This self-flagellating attitude that black people have, always whipping ourselves on the back. We're the worst at this. We're the worst at that. We're the only ones who do this. We're the only ones who do that. It ain't true. All right.
But when is we going to do something?
We're the only ones.
That's the point.
Why do you think this country has so many various minorities right now? Where were they during the civil rights movement and the 300 years prior? They weren't.
You know why, Hakeem? You know why we have a lot of. You know why we have a lot of. That was there. You know why we have a. You know why we have a lot of. You know why we have a lot of minorities, and especially like mixed people. They dominated the black men, so they taking our women. We is dominated. You cannot sit up here and say we not. Black men, especially in America, we are dominated. Every race in America dominate us. They know. Why you think you got white people? They call the police on you for no apparent reason. Them Karens call the police on you for no reason. That's they men who they calling.
White people.
And we ain't gonna sign up. I'd rather get pulled over. This fucked up though. I'd rather get pulled over by a white cop, a Klan member, than most of them black people.
Why?
I don't know where this is going now. It's kind of like
how are Latinos less dominated than us?
I know a lot of black people don't want to hear this, especially black men, because I guess we haven't. But my thing is, it need to be talked about because it's N-word. I'm worrying about how we get treated like one. Fuck the word.
But they treat you like that because they think of you as that. That's why they go
Who
hand
give
in
a
hand.
damn how they think about? That's another thing. We so subjugated.
Listen, but
Who give a fuck about how they think?
Hold on,
Grow
bro.
some balls.
But no, hold on. That has a lot to do with why people act on things. If you manifest something, if you fester on something, that has a lot to do with what you put out. If he thinks of you as a nigga, whatever, this is why he treats you the way that. If he sees you as subhuman, yeah, that has a lot to do with it.
But Derek, shit, nobody. I don't care how I act. You ain't finna treat me no any kind of way.
Right.
I guarantee you, when white folks act like the N word, I bet you're not gonna treat them that way.
Look, I hear you. Relax, but I'm saying ain't nobody gonna run up on me. I get what you're saying, but I'm saying a lot of these white folks think like this. This is why they treat us this way. They think they're better than us. They think they're superior. They think you are a nigga. They think you are a monkey.
Derek, but here's the thing: what P is trying to say, and I think someone else on the panel is that you cannot, you can't control what people think about you. You can't worry. I mean, they're going to think what they're going to think.
Right.
I'm saying just be aware of when he said why we're being treated like this. Be aware of, because this is how they think. This is their nature, and this is why I said know your history. They have a history of doing this all over the world.
So what are we gonna do about it, Derek?
Hold on. Let me get Hinkin and Rod King. I'm going to get you as well too. Thank you for hanging out. What do you got to say about this? And then I want to play a clip too and get you guys' opinion on it too.
Man, this is crazy. Hey, we talked about this on LaPie Sports on Sunday about the Joe Rogan using the N-word. Man, look, I don't subscribe to it. I don't use it. I don't want no black person call me one, and I definitely don't want no white person call me one. I'm not with that, man, because the definition of it doesn't change. I don't care who it comes from. The word still means the same to me. So, I mean, if you're going to talk about you ready to be called one, then treat it like one. No, you don't, dog. You look up the definition and read that, you don't want to be called that, dog. I promise you don't. Because ain't nothing good about that. Hey, I don't give a damn about them using it's a term endure. Kiss my ass. Ain't nothing about that a term endearment. I don't want that. I don't want to be called that. I don't want to be seen at that. I don't want to be acknowledged at that. I don't want to be recognized at. But let me tell you this: the new N word is thug, and instead of them calling you the N word, they call you a thug now. That's the new N word for them.
Right.
So get ready. That's what they're gonna call you.
But my thing is the reason why I say that because even though I understand what you're saying, the word is horrible. But my thing is, fuck they word. We got names for them. That's harmful for them. But my thing is, when we go to court, when we get to court, we get treated like a nigga. When we go to work, especially my black ass, 6'4", 6'3.5" with dreads, tall, deep voice, I'm gonna get treated like one. I'm gonna get blamed and can't keep a job. When I try to move to the little white neighborhood to keep from being in the hood, so I want to move in a decent neighborhood. Oh, I'm gonna get blamed for everything. I'm gonna get picked on everywhere I go.
So they stereotype you.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
so that's what I mean. Getting treated like a nigga.
But that's life. Man, look at that.
Man, we can't always continue to say this life in the system. Every time we talk about the system and stuff, we always say, "I know the system bad, but that's the only far as we go." No, let's unpack that.
Be a part of the change.
We so used to seeing black men. The thing is, we so used to seeing black men getting the worst end of the deal of everything that we do, especially in this court system. I asked this white person, right?
Let's change that.
Hey, that's what I'm trying to say. I asked this couple of these white people, right? I was just going around I just want to hear how they feel. I said, because it was a couple of cases that went down where white people got off. I said, wonder if most of these white cops or something that killed black men, when they went to court, everybody in there is black. The judge, the bailiff, the jurors, everybody is black. I said, what do you think the outcome would turn out to be? That white man said they would get found guilty. So I said, what's the difference when black people go to court, black men go to court in front of all these white folks? You rarely see black men getting off innocent and when they take shit to trial, unless they got a lot of fucking money, they still lose.
But what's the reason for even going through that scenario with them? They'll never understand. They'll never understand the
My
we deal
biggest
with.
thing is it's not about them understanding. We understand it. My biggest thing is us black men. How long are we going to continue of living safe and living in fear? And when we going to stand up for ourselves? When we going to stand up for ourselves?
I do it every day,
and fight back. I'm saying as a collective, one person can't do it.
Let me.
Well,
I'm
I
gonna
don't
play.
have to be. It's like I don't have to be the only one carrying that flag. We all. It can
Look,
start right here.
Hold on. I'm gonna
That's
play
what
a
I'm
clip.
saying.
It only takes a small group of pioneers for everybody else to follow. You can't expect everybody overnight to get on the same page. But
guess what? I want to say this. And guess what? When we start getting control, once we start getting our balls and getting control, we don't have to worry about the N-word no more.
Like Courtney do her thing.
Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna play a clip, and then Ryan King, I'm gonna get you in after this. Okay. All right.
No problem.
Let's see what I got.
I was like, damn. I again. So yes, my first video on my channel is saying no one owns the word. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you think you is. You don't own the word nigga. It belongs
don't you see why some people are having a problem with it? If you're saying that no one should use the word, and then you're calling a black man the word nigga.
No, I agree. No one should use the word. But again, it is a part of my vocabulary. Since I was a toddler growing up in the Bronx, my family is both black and Hispanic. It is part of my vocabulary as much as it's part of yours, as much as it's part of anybody's on this panel. It is a part of my vocabulary since I was a child, in my environment, in my community, with my family. I decided on my own to curb the word. I decided on my own not to use it. I'm not using it because it belongs to black people. That's not why I'm not using the word. It belongs to whoever. It is used by whoever comes from communities that I come from. The word nigga with an A at the end is used by everyone who comes from the communities that I come from, who are either black or Hispanic. Period. And I decided not to use it.
So I know that so I know that we've talked about, the word, and with Joe Rogan saying it and the word period. Now we're saying we should not use the word. However, people that are brought up in the communities, such as herself, is saying it's indoctrinated. So what is your opinion on that?
Everybody has the right to use the word.
Rod King, let me get him in here. So, because I know he's been waiting. Go ahead, brother.
Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
So, first off, I've been listening to this whole thing since it pretty much started, and it's been fiery. So, peace to everybody that did their thing on there. Everybody is based on valid points. So, shout out to everybody on this panel and the people that were in before I got in. So, I'll say that first and foremost. Also, I'll also say this. No offense to Dr. King. Somebody mentioned turning the other cheek. Nah, fuck that. I'd rather be Malcolm X. All right.
Thanks, brother.
So yeah. So with that being said, as far as the usage of the N-word, this is a scenario I want to point out. All right. So I was reading an article about my former high school, and there was this teacher who was a white woman who was married to a black man. and that teacher got into a little bit of a spat. It wasn't like something real crazy, but she got into a spat with some of her students, and they happen to be black. And the conversation, I don't recall exactly how the conversation got up, but the conversation came up with the N word, the usage of the word nigga, right? And her whole thing was because the word was being used, and she literally came out and said, well, since I'm married to a, you know what I mean, I should get a pass because my man is black, right? And she got fired for that. Now, everybody I seen in the comment section were, up in arms because they felt like, it wasn't a big deal, it was a mistake, this, that, and the third, whatever the case may be. And to a degree, I can understand why it would have been a mistake, but understand this: you cannot tell somebody how to react if they feel a certain way, and that goes with any community, right? Some people are not going to take it. Some people are not going to take it to heart. Some people will take it to heart. I agree with what Derek said about checking people. You feel what I'm saying? Any of my friends who happen to be white that have used the word in front of me in my presence, I've immediately checked them about it, because here's the thing: I'm not stupid. I know these cats probably use these words amongst themselves. You feel what I'm saying? But I tell these cats, every reaction, there's a consequence. So
Right.
if you're around some people that don't know you, and you just say the word regardless of context, you have to be ready for whatever consequences come your way. That is life. Not everybody's gonna be on some kumbaya, my lord, and all this other shit. There are people who that's a no-fly zone with, and that's totally okay. But this is why this conversation is interesting to me personally, primarily because I've asked. This is the one question that I can never get a definitive answer from, which is why I kind of wish that there was a white person on the panel so I could ask this question. But this is a real serious question. The real question shouldn't be whether or not who should use the word and all this other shit. The real question should be, as a white person, man or woman, knowing your history, knowing where the word came from, what the word was used for, the context, and what it really means in terms of you using it, your usage against us. Why in this day and age, especially now, do you feel the need to want to use the word? You don't have to. That's the question. Why do you, as a white person, feel the need to want to use the word? Because let's be real, us as black folks, we don't even use derogatory terms against other people. All right, not as profusely as they use against us. Like
Right.
we have seen plenty of videos or plenty of situations where, like, if a white person, like I saw this one thing, I don't know if everybody saw this, but if y'all are familiar with the YouTuber by the name of PewDiePie, I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with him, right?
One of the biggest YouTubers ever.
Right, absolutely. So with that being said, there was a situation where somebody when he was talking to somebody who was black, and he ended up just out of nowhere, I guess because he was irritated, he ended up throwing out the word willy-nilly. And that's not the only time that I've ever seen that. It's like anytime, like, white folks, what I've noticed with a lot of white people, whether it's woefully ignorant or subconsciously, they will take it there 9 times out of 10 when they don't even need to take it there. So my biggest question is, why do these people feel the need to use the word? And if your answer to my response, because I've never gotten a definitive answer. It's always been the cop-out answers. Well, it's been used in rap lyrics, or we use it amongst ourselves. Well, let me tell you this. Pink, I respect you for being that individual to say, I'm not gonna use the word period. Me personally, this is how I feel about it, right? Me, I believe in being able, because everybody has a professional way of dealing with stuff, and in a friendly way. Like, you're talking to your friends, you talk to your friends however you talk to your friends. But when you're out and when you're doing business and stuff like that, you know how to conduct yourself in a professional manner. You know what I mean? So my biggest thing is,
I think that we need to get to a point to ask the question why, above all. Whether or not you agree, if you use it amongst each other, I mean, that's a conversation we can have within each other, and we can hopefully we'll be able to get to a point where it's no longer, you know, as big a situation as what it is today. But the question that I would pose to any race that isn't black, why do y'all feel the need to use it? Because at the end of the day, if you know, specifically white folks, especially, because it wasn't Mexicans that was hanging us from them ropes. You know what I mean? It wasn't them working us out in these fields and shit like that. Okay, but knowing the context, the historical accuracies with how that word was created, what it's used for, and even everything that comes from it. Why do y'all in this day and age feel the need to want to say it when you know better than to say it? And then if you feel that if you feel that you want to be on an equal playing field with it, then okay, all right, I'll give you that. I'm not going to police you on how to say the word. Just know I gave you the warning. Every reaction comes with a consequence. You want to go ahead and say it because you know it's freedom of speech. Then you cannot sit here and be mad at the reaction of the next person.
Well, let's go back to the video, and this could speak to white people that grew up in the community as well too. Again, like I said prior to all this at the beginning, I do know a couple white guys that say it even amongst each other because they grew up in the community of all black people. It was Slick the Hood, and so that's just how they were raised, and they say it all the cup like it's nothing. And
Yeah,
so
you know what, Courtney?
the clip that I just played, she's Spanish, and again, saying it again, it's how she was raised. It was the word in my community. That's just what I know.
Let me say something. Let me tell something to this.
Hold on, let Jay Priss go ahead, and then you go ahead.
You know what, Courtney? The thing is with that, that's why I say black folks don't stand up for nothing. The reason why they be so willing to use the bad word, the N word, but I bet you that same Puerto Rican woman, I bet you she's not gonna be around a whole bunch of black people calling her no wetback. I bet you those black people that grew up in white neighborhoods not sitting around with a whole bunch of white people calling them peckers and crackers and stuff like that.
Well, the girl said she's black and Mexican.
Well,
She's mixed.
yo, can I say this? Can I say one thing?
When it comes to
Prince, let me say this real quick. Most people, I don't know if y'all, I'm sure y'all know, but remember, redneck was also a derogatory term at one point in time. Now these white people who
they call
like the
themselves
country
redneck.
bumpkins and shit, they
There's
wear
a whole,
that. They wear that.
There's a comedian, Jeff, I forgot, back in the day, that was
Foxworthy.
Yes.
But they don't have no problem with that type. They don't be having no problem with that type of word because that word is nobody never did nothing to them. Nobody never went in their communities and fucked them up.
Yeah,
so
ain't
we
no
can call them
historical
rednecks, we
trauma
call them
behind it.
pepperwood. Yeah, we can call them whatever we want to call them, but we not hanging white folks. We not stopping white folks from getting a job.
That's fair. I give you that. I give you that.
You know, when you think about everything they got all the power. They the ones give us the laws. They give us work. They give us money.
Okay.
They give us a place to stay.
So this all right. So I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna hop off. How many of us are well educated in our judiciary system?
Oh, yeah. I know a little bit about some laws.
Okay, so let me say this, right? My man Jay Prince brought up a real strong argument. When the fuck are we gonna man up, grow some balls, and do something? It starts from that aspect right here. We as a community need to allow our offsprings, like the next generation. We need to educate this generation and the following generations to come after us to be the people in position to make these laws work in our favor. Case in point, how many of y'all? All right, I'm not trying to go too hard because you know I'm 30. I'll be 32 this year. But the very first president that I voted for was for Barack Obama. I voted for him twice, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I was one of them niggas that voted for him because he was a nigga. Hell yeah, I'm gonna vote for him because he's black. I ain't give a fuck what he stood for. I
Right.
made that mistake. Now, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I think what Obama, based off the cards that he was dealt, he did the best that he could. But the problem with our community is we wanted him to be the president of black people. You got to understand something. He's a figurehead around a whole bunch of white folks. Okay? So what we need to do is we need to allow ourselves to learn the system. As unfair as the system is towards us, we need more, like the lead attorney. Why I respect the lead attorney is the lead attorney is at least in a situation where he understands the laws. And I would listen to a guy like him because he could give me the game that I need to know to learn about. Okay, what do I need to do to put myself in position to be one of those figurehead, one of those guys to spearhead, trying to make things work in our favor. And I think that's the biggest issue. I think we need to look deeper than just what we got going on. Let's go ahead and take it. Let's go ahead and take it to the upper levels as well, because you got to understand, it's still white folks in power that's been in power for centuries, right? We got people in the Supreme Courts. We got people in Congress that's been in there for 50, 60, 70 years.
But you still repeat.
Let me say this, and this is something just kind of off the cusp, but again, what I was speaking about is that they use black people emotions to push a narrative. What did they call Obama? He was on Time. Was it Time magazine?
Oh, we know what they called him.
What did he call him? The first what president?
I forgot.
They called Obama, I think it was on Time, the first gay president.
Oh yeah.
And this is, and you call me whatever you want to, but I totally believe that they play on black people's emotions. So being on code means understanding that the bigger picture. There was no way that a lot of this agenda, as far as with the LGBTQ community, would be able to be passed because a lot of country ass black conservative Baptist folks wasn't going to pass it. So in order to get gay marriage passed, who did they have to get? Was the front man that we had to get in? A black man.
Well, yeah, but we all know that. I mean, Obama didn't.
I'm gonna leave it there, fellas.
Hold on. So this
but I'm still going to vote for Obama than George Bush.
Let her make her point, gentlemen.
Right. This is what I'm trying to say. Is that understanding that they play on black people's emotions to push a narrative. I wholeheartedly believe that one of the narratives that they picked Obama was to push a narrative that they wouldn't be able to get another white man to do because black people wouldn't do it. But they play on us having the first black president, seeing a black man and a black woman in office that they knew, just like Rod King said, we were going to vote for him anyway because he's black and we wanted a nigga in office. And we got it. And then that's how it flooded. And now this LGBT community has every single right, more than we do, because we put the black man in that could do it, because no other white man could do it. Look at what Joe Rogan. They're playing our emotions off the word nigga because they couldn't cancel him off the vaccinations. So now they're using us again. We're always being used.
We're the yard dogs. We're the yard dogs. That's how they use it, like yard dogs.
But how long are we going to accept those? How long are we going to accept these?
And that's why
marching. You know what, marching? We've been marching for 500 years, and marching really did never do a damn thing for us.
Prince, I agree. See, I agree with you. I agree with you. But I just want to say education in that front, like that's one thing that we need to get on. So, because if we're talking about being the change, we're sitting here talking about being the change. Let's go out there and really make something pop for real. Let's not just talk about it. Let's be about it. So, for the future generations to come after us, let's not be that stereotype. Let's not feed into the stereotypes that all black folks is dumb. Let's go ahead and allow education to be a proper part of our community, because at one point in time it was. Stop trying to dumb down. Hold up. You don't need to dumb down to appease anybody, because at the end of the day, damn what the fuck they talking about. We're damned if we do, damned if we don't. But if I gotta play that role, I'm gonna make sure that I have enough knowledge to make the change, so that the people that come after me when I'm dead and gone don't gotta fucking come to this situation and have this conversation we're having. and
Hey, Keith.
that's how I want to
Go
leave it.
ahead. Let me let Black David talk because he's been waiting for a minute. Go ahead, Black David. What you got?
But y'all take care.
I'll be trying to be
Thank you for having me.
patient.
Thank you so much for watching and coming on. I appreciate you.
Anytime. Take care, fellas. Love the
All right,
conversation.
Keith. Let's go.
All right.
All right,
Thank
take it
you.
easy.
Take care.
Okay,
All right,
I
bro.
will try to be patient. There's a saying that always goes this way. People suffer for their lack of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
When I say that and people want to back Barack Obama for a lot of things, the first thing I ask, how many people remember the civic lesson back from high school or the civic lesson back from elementary school?
You said the election?
The civic lesson, civic, CIVIC,
Okay, the civics.
Mm-hmm.
civic. We have three branches of office, right? We
You
got
do?
executive, judicial, and what else?
Hold up. The executive, judicial.
Legislative.
There
Yeah,
you go.
there
Come
you
on,
go.
Hakeem.
So who write the bills and vote on them?
The legislation?
Yeah, the legislation.
Okay. We only vote for one person in majority for the president. He only do is sign the bill. Who vote for all these senators and the congressmen or who don't even pay attention what going into office? I've been saying this for the past 20 years about the black community. This is something that's been played against us. When the community dumb down themselves for far too long, they don't realize what's taking place. Everybody want to put the blame on Barack Obama for the past 8 years since he's been in office. That is fine and dandy, but y'all keep forgetting who wrote the laws, who vote on the law, who passed the law to give to Barack Obama to sign. He can only do something with his position. He's just like a manager. When you look at the civic lesson, being the president of the United States, nothing more being a manager of the government, right? Everybody got a role to play. When you don't vote for your state congressman, you don't vote for your congressmen, your senators, and you let everybody else vote for you, who do they put in office? Who will write these bills? Did they write the bill for your advantage, for your best interest, or they write the bill against you? I watched Willie Martin on Filter for almost 3 years. That's the most educated black media program I've been watching so far. And I realized as he tried to break it down for black folk to understand what's been going on, a lot of people don't get too emotional. Like Courtney said, they use our emotion against us. Now, for those who are not falling for the okie doke, they understand what's going on. I've been saying it for far too long. Black people don't vote for the best interest at heart. They vote for people that make them feel good. When that happens, what do you think will go happen next? We're batching people who want to be prosecutors, who want to be DAs for the local region or to the Chicago. I talk about Willie Martin. He's a journalist. The reason I'm saying that, my uncle, who I look up to back in Nigeria, was a journalist. His main job as a journalist is to report the truth. Either he like it or he don't. They shut down his newspaper company back in Nigeria when you had dictatorship, whereby a lot of people risking their life to write articles to let the people know what the heck is going on. This is why I respect journalists who take the oath very, very serious. A lot of people don't like Roland Martin. I say that's fine, that's dandy. But what are you doing? Are you standing in the place to report the news out there to let them know what the hell is going on? People like to attack everybody. What I look at people is this. Either you doing the work to keep you informed or you shut the hell up. Because at the end of the day, it's
Yeah.
always been known for truth. Our people suffer for their lack of knowledge. We listen to entertainment too much. That's why according to court jesters, the people you pay attention to are the court judge. Their job is to keep you entertained, not to keep you informed.
Mm.
The people who trying to keep you informed, do you pay attention to them? Hell no. So don't start complaining now. A very small percent of us pay attention to what's going on. We read up, we understand what's going on. But majority of us don't, because you know why? We watch entertainment for far too long. If it's not entertainment, it's reality TV. It's not reality TV, it's whatever you see on social media. We play
Right.
this game and point fingers, but never look at ourselves first. What have we been doing? The black community of the yesterday used to be highly educated, highly intelligent, and they could not be touched because you know why? As long as the community continues to grow up and large in intelligence and in dominance, it's hard to touch them. What did? They dumbed down the educational system. They removed trade from high school. When you take all these things that help the black community remain strong, what happened next after that? The
Yeah.
drug epidemic.
Well,
The father leaving the household because of what happened.
I kind of want to push back on a little thing you said, David.
You may put back.
Not
I'm a logic.
everything. I
You
agree.
may put
I
back,
agree
but
with
what I'm saying, I'm being logical and I'm being technical. I'm not putting my emotion
I
on this.
agree. I put it like this. I agree 100% everything you're saying, but I guess my thing is this, especially when we talk about education. I think education is relative. I think like when they taught us about slavery and stuff, I think that's the reason why we in the position that we in now. They could have been lying to us to get us to make us believe that's who we is as black people nowadays. So I do not like the history that they told us about ourselves. I do not believe.
I get
But
that.
for a reason, for some reason, majority of black people believe it, and we act off that belief. And you gotta every time we talk about education, they the ones giving us the education. It's their
I
school.
I
It's their
I
curriculum.
I get that, but here's the thing. Even though if there's
We
school,
don't need to get taught by our enemies no longer.
okay, you said I'm glad you said that, but what happened to building our own? Why come together and build our own in the first place?
Y'all,
That's
now
what
y'all
I'm
know
talking about,
Dr.
David.
Hold on. Y'all know
Don't
Dr. Umar was trying to build a school for the
I
past
know for so
don't
30,
long.
40 years.
He's
but
a
look,
descendant.
only thing we need to go to school for
Every
is
other race,
for
every other
math,
race educate their
science, and
own.
English. Those are the
Dr.
only subjects we need to
Dr.
worry about.
Umar Johnson.
That's
No,
it.
here the thing. I'm a
Math,
Nigerian.
science, and English. That's it.
Let me put it.
Don't
I'm a
worry about
Nigerian,
anything
brother.
else. Learn
Here it is.
your history from your family, from your
Here the
own
thing.
people.
I'm a full-blooded Nigerian. What I was taught is to be well educated. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. Use that education for your advantage, not for their advantage, but for your own. Make sure you be on top of everything you need to know and then some. The reason why of all the ethnic groups in the United States, Nigerians are the most highly educated. We were put to be on survival mode. We never give ourselves a break for a specific reason. Because you know why? At the end of the day, you never learn enough.
Yeah.
We
Let me
push ourselves to know more. Until you change that mindset that you have, and tell your younger generation, don't try to dumb yourself down. Acquire knowledge and understanding. If the knowledge is not enough, venture out there. Search the world. Seek for the truth. Be a truth seeker. If you just sitting down your butt and doing nothing and just complaining, then it's by all means it's on you alone.
Yeah. Black David, I'm gonna let me bring it back to the Joe Rogan because we were talking about a piece that I
And
had.
that I'm tying into that because the N word
Okay.
issue,
Mm-hmm.
this have been debate about this thing for at least for a decade right now. And I've seen it all, I've heard it all. My main problem is black people to let that word go, let it die out. Plain simple. The more you keep on holding on to something that's so negative, the more people will identify you guys with that same that narrative.
Yeah, but how can you
No,
when you keep peeling the scab off of it? You keep saying it all the time. You keep giving it life.
that
It
you.
can't die unless you give it life.
I'm glad you said
Put it
that
to rest
because
by not saying it. Don't use the word. Take it out of your vocabulary. We
hint.
could start. We could start a pack today. A group of what? 6 people here. 6
Mhm,
people say, "I choose not to use that word. I don't care if I'm talking to my brothers
mhm.
or that white dude or that Mexican or that whatever. Choose not to use that word. Take it out
And
of
you
my
totally
vocabulary.
correct.
We can start a pack today. If that's what you want to do, we can start a movement right now
And you
and
totally
then share
correct.
this same and educate other blacks about the same thing. Hey, man, I had a conversation on Courtney Michelle's YouTube show, and we talked about we made a pact. What do y'all think about doing it? And
And
you
you're
can
right.
share that.
Get what I did. That I'm taking the N word. I say, what's good, my brother? What's good, my sister?
Right on.
But
What's
that's
wrong
not
with
going to
Right
change
on.
how we. That's
no?
not going
But
to change.
no,
I
but hit it.
understand the sentiment of
It
what y'all said, but that's not going to change on how we get treated though. Fuck the word.
uh, let me put it like
Getting
this.
treated
Let me put
some
it like
way is
this.
different from the word.
Let me
Yes,
say
it is.
something.
The word, the word is
Jay
it
Prince.
might don't sit well with a lot of us,
Jay Prince.
All
but
right,
Jay
how
Prince.
we
hold
get
on, hold on,
treated.
hold
Jay
on.
Prince.
You
Let me
you will get
let me
treated
go
bad. It
back.
has nothing to do with the N word.
Jay
Has
Prince.
nothing to do with the N word. How they treat you
Hold
Jay
on.
has nothing to
Prince.
do with the N word.
Wait,
They treat
hey,
us
Hold
like
on.
niggas.
wait, hey, let me hold on, chill out for
Damn,
a
dog.
second because I wanna bring it back to Joe Rogan because we can go back and forth the N word and we can still continue
Yes.
that. However, I don't want to miss out because we did have this conversation earlier about the other things that he said that was questionable. Now he said on one of the shows that he went to go see Planet of the Apes. And when he went to an all black neighborhood, and when he walked in there, he said that he thought he was in Planet of the Apes. He thought he was in Africa because it was all black.
He's
Now,
not the
those
one who
are
said
some
that.
of so those are one of the comments that he said too that people are up in arms with. Now they're not saying that to cancel him with, which again I think is interesting because
Well,
that's
guess
more of what
I'm
I
glad you
would want
mentioned that.
to discuss. Hold on, what I want to discuss. But hold on, I'm going to play this because he did apologize for saying that as well too. So let me.
I don't believe in apologies.
Well, I hear if you're not sorry, why apologize? You said what you said, but let's see.
Yeah, they meant it.
Tommy and his girlfriend, we got really high. We were in Philadelphia, and we went to go see Planet of the Apes. And we didn't know where we were going. We just got dropped off by a cab, and we got dropped off in this all-black neighborhood. And I was trying to make the story entertaining, and I said we got out, and it was like we were in Africa. It's like we were in Planet of the Apes. I did not, nor would I ever say that black people are apes, but it sure fucking sounded like that. And I immediately afterwards said, that's a racist thing to say. Planet of the Apes wasn't even in Africa. I was just saying there's a lot of black people there. But then I went on to talk about what a positive experience it was and how much fun it was to go to see this movie in a black neighborhood. It wasn't a racist story, but it sounded terrible. And like I said, you can have clunky stories about anything, but not about race. And so I deleted that whole podcast, but obviously somebody made a clip out of it and taken out of context. It looks terrible, but it looks terrible even in.
So that was the other part that he said that I have more issues with even him saying just the word nigger. It's the context of it all.
Come on, Courtney. I thought we agreed not to use
get
that
it.
word no more. I thought we had a pact,
I'm
Jay.
sorry.
I thought we had a pact, Jay.
I wasn't calling
You
nobody.
know,
I
white
was
people
saying
always
the word.
white people always do that, Courtney. White
I'm
people
just
always
joshing
say
you.
white people always do something that they know if he knew what he was saying when he said it before he
Even
even
though,
said it. They
even though,
always when they get this type of pushback, they always make it seem like they just these victims. They didn't mean this and stuff like that, but he knew what he was saying. But my thing is, when you shave a monkey, and when you look at a monkey's lips, it's identical to white people.
But that's not.
So how are they going to equate blacks with monkeys? Like I never
hold on.
seen a monkey with lips like this, big
But
ass lips.
let's be real here. Let's
Like
be real here. Hold
I
on.
never seen a monkey like that.
But let's be
But
Only
real.
you, Jay.
Hold
Only
on.
you,
Jay, calm down.
All right,
Calm
go
down.
ahead, Black David. I'm gonna get you real quick, but I want to hear
We need to
also
understand something. Before
Derek.
he said it, somebody else said it even worse than that. That was Ronald Reagan when he was the governor, when Nixon was the president. He called black people monkeys. The problem with people don't want to study their history no more. When you don't look back who started the trend and initiated it, then you keep giving that person a pass. So before Rogan said those things, there were people before him in power that was saying it and make it seem like it was okay to be said. They weren't held accountable for that. Nor their family were held accountable for that. They walked away with a pass. So if Ronald Reagan can call black people monkeys, why he was a governor before he became president, and they got away with it, and no one said not a damn word about it. No one will rah about Ronald Reagan, and other people keep saying the same exact thing in corporate America. I remember a boss of mine even come out of his mouth and trying to call African people monkey. Now I could have got triggered. You know what I did? I make sure I raised the bar so freaking high that the guy you call a monkey make your peer who look just like you white look like nothing. I did it so much to the point whereby he was afraid to look me in the eye. Every job I've been to, when people want to look down on me, I say, you know what, this is competition time. It's time to raise the bar so freaking high to make you know that you're inferior to me, no matter what you do. I let my work speak for itself.
All right. Black David, let me get some other people what you guys thought about that with Joe Rogan. And also, Black David, you know in history, this is the reason why Roseanne Barr got canceled. Because she called Valerie Garrett a monkey.
You are correct on that one too. I'm
Yeah.
glad you pointed that
So
one out
she
too.
got canceled for that. So yeah. Does anyone else have anything to say about with Joe Rogan and this monkey business?
Yeah. Look,
Go ahead, Akeem.
that monkey comment was indefensible, and
Mhm.
you just tell the difference. Like, he had no leg to stand on, and
Mhm.
even he had to double down and say that was racist and apologize for that. Everything
Mhm.
else, including saying the N word, which Brother Hink and Brother Black David, I think we're all on the same page with it, shouldn't be said at all. The point, I think the thing we got to look at it is, how do we change the narrative? How do we put some respect that they can't even begin to bring that out of their mouth? And if we look at it that way, I think we start moving the needle. Now, the thing is that when he said that, that showed the lack of respect he had for blacks, because here's the thing, he would never think to say that to anybody else. That shows you how low people feel about blacks, how low we are on the totem pole globally. Because there was an exhibit in a Chinese museum where they had African children next to lions, basically, and they had this in the mainland China, I believe, and it took them. It didn't. They had it up there for years, and it took them until Americans came by to take that down from their museum. So this is a global thing where we're just not thought of highly. We're thought of as, not human. And that's what they accomplished during slavery, and that's what they accomplished during colonialism. They had to justify dehumanizing us to be able to justify enslaving us and saying that it was for our own good. So the whole point being is that it's not going to change in our generation. We're going to really have to take an analytical look in this and have these tough conversations with our younger people.
Mhm.
Because I think some of them, they waver on this subject matter, and that's what upsets me a little bit, because they don't take the seriousness. Because I think you saw that interview that Anton did after that whole Fresh and Fit debacle, where he talked to that young man about usage of the N-word, and he said, yeah, people will use it around him, he doesn't care, it's not a big deal. That's what I think is the norm with our younger people.
Yeah.
So I think if we look at it critically and we understand how we try to look at for solutions, how we change the narrative, we have to be realistic. It's not going to change with us. We have to lay down the groundwork so that it changes with the next generation and further. And until we do that, we're not going to move the needle.
Yeah.
In other words, educate your people. Stop trying to dumb them down. Teach them to rise above the occasion. If you don't do that, nothing going to change. Plain simple. It's easy as that.
All right.
Because if you don't start from little, you can't expect to do a big thing if you can't manage the little thing you have in front of you.
Yeah.
Man,
Well, I'm going to go ahead, Hank. I'm sorry.
that man did right by apologizing. You know why he apologized? Because he wanted to save that bag, baby. That's the big picture. That was the only reason why he apologized.
His
Now,
publicist got with him.
as far as asking Spotify to cancel him, why? He wasn't on Spotify when he made all them statements. So you're gonna hold his previous employer accountable for that? No, you can't do that. Why? Why would you do that?
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. He
So
wasn't on
yeah,
Spotify.
no, he wasn't on Spotify at the time. So you can't ask Spotify to hold this man accountable for something he did in the past. Because if that's the case, we got a whole lot of people who lose some jobs around this joint.
But they do.
Because I mean, Bill Clinton called us super predators before he got elected.
Ronald Reagan calling us black monkeys. Come on, let's keep adding on to the
Biden
list.
was right there with him, helped sign the bill, the 3 strike bill. But yet we found a way to get him in the White House.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you for putting that in there.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
So,
man. We
Jay,
let the word go.
yeah.
Let it go. Let it go. Don't even put it in your vocabulary anymore. So I I've been holding this flag since about, let me tell you, about '98. And the reason I stopped, this is the reason I stopped. One of my teammates at Murray State, we was, football team, you together, y'all talking y'all shit, they're doing your thing. Uh, we use the N word just freely. I could see how uncomfortable my sweet mate was with us using that word. And from that moment on, I said, dog, I'm gonna tell you this. I will not use that word around you. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go further. I'm gonna stop using that word, period.
Mm-hmm.
And it was from there. I made that vow. I said I won't do it again because how uncomfortable my white roommate. I made him uncomfortable. He seen how his face looked when we were saying it. He's like, man, he just felt uneasy. I said, out of respect for you, I'm going to stop this. Out of respect for that man, and that's what it was. And been ever since. Just cut out my vocabulary.
Okay. I am going to wrap it up. I think this was a dope conversation. I want to explore really more of the N-word conversation. Because I think it's deep and I think it can get deeper as far as the meaning, the prevalence of why it still is in hip hop. Will that ever be addressed? If
I
we're
think
saying that we don't want to say it, so who are we going to hold accountable with saying it? Are
I've
we
been
going
saying
to
it
take
for
that
I've been saying
time?
it for far too long about the hip hop industry.
It
It's
starts
just,
with us though.
if you support them, they'll keep on going with it. When you don't support them and you cut out the supply, it will die away. Plain simple.
But again, Jay Prince, I'm going to get what you want to say, but the past is, I mean, even with this Jen saying that she grew up from the Bronx and stuff, but I mean, how many times have I heard Fat Joe, Cardi B, the late great Big Pun,
I live in New York City, and trust me,
Takashi 6ix9ine?
that New York City is like a melting pot where people use that thing fully in all five boroughs, and there's nothing you can do about it. What she's saying is totally true. It's within the school district. What can you do? You
Yeah.
just can't. Unless you live out here and see for yourself, there's nothing you can do. We have Jewish people say that same thing. We have Spanish people. We have Mexican people. People all different nationalities say that thing freely in New York City. Because you know why? It's like a regular thing they say on a daily basis. So what can you do? You cannot police everybody.
You can't.
Well, all multiple ethnic groups within New York City are saying that thing freely, and no one is held accountable for it.
because
So
the younger, I'll make it quick, but the younger generation hasn't held the line that people in the 90s and 80s and 70s held.
Right,
They
because they're trying to blur it from existence. So again, we had a brother on here earlier that was 30. He's 30 years old and he's speaking like this. The warrior class is being killed off, period. And I grew up, like you just said, I was born in the late 70s, 80s. I grew up in the 90s. So a lot of these cats don't have the same type of heart to them. And not like everybody that grew up in our era had heart either, but I'm just saying it's more, things are more accepted now, things are more liberal now. And and this is why initially I was saying, you can still check people. It's not about being sensitive, just being prideful. No matter how it came out, it still shouldn't have been said. If it was any other time, I would have the same energy. So if we have the same energy with each other not saying it, we can definitely have the same energy for everybody else too. I get it. We shouldn't be saying everybody, what about the music? What about all that stuff? They were saying it before rap music existed, calling us the N-word. So the point is, we can fix our communities and check and demand respect. You will not say that in my presence. Don't say that around me. I don't say it. Don't just assume because I'm black folk, I say it. Again, we don't need to accept that always our behavior is degenerate because that's what everybody thinks. No, I don't hang around a bunch of N-words. I don't randomly call people in my life N-words. Why would I? Now, there was a point in time in my life, like I said, in the hood or growing up, yeah, but as you become older, your work and stuff, I'm in situations, areas where I'm at, there's no N-words around me. There's no reason for me to be saying it. So definitely, again, white boy, you definitely shouldn't be saying it. And you're not gonna get a pass. And I will always check your ass or whoever if I'm around you. That's how we can fix it. Period.
But you know, when the people all say check them, they always could go straight to violence. It ain't got to be
No,
about
you ain't
violence
gotta
if
be
you
violent.
checking somebody.
I can slice you up
I'm
with
gonna educate
words
you, brother. I'm gonna tell you what it
professionally at
is.
work because, like I said, I've done it when I was in the military. I've had to do it. I've had to do it now as an adult. And you pump their brakes, and they understand the intent and the tone and the vernacular and how you looking at them that I effed up. So that's all you got to do, and they won't do it again. You know what I'm saying? So that's all you got to do. And just like I said, other groups of people, there's nothing wrong with having pride in your group. Hey, bro, that ain't cool, man. Don't be saying that around me. Do you understand me? Then y'all have an understanding. They won't say it again. I've done that plenty of times to white boys because they get real out of pocket. Because what they do is try to test the temperature and dip the toe in the water. If you don't say nothing and you pass it, then that's a green light. Well, okay, I can say it around here. Wrong, not me.
Well, let me ask you guys this before you guys leave off the panel.
When you have those pacifier blacks around you that say, no, he cool, he can use that. You check them harder.
Right. Then I would check. I would check company. Then after I check company, I go check him.
All right. So this is what we're going to do. Before we leave off the panel, and Derek, you can go first this time. What should be the outcome of Joe Rogan?
The outcome of Joe Rogan, I don't know what the outcome should be because he just got offered $100 million deal. So again, he's being rewarded for the bad behavior. Again, like I said, at our level, all you can do is make, assess people accordingly and tell them, hey, this is not acceptable behavior. But I mean, there's nothing that can be done. There was nothing done to die Imus. They just move them off TV for a while or suspend them, then they come back. Again, like I said, when this happened, I wasn't surprised by it. He's a middle-aged white man. So when silliness happens and when it involves them, the dominant society, I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. I could see that happening. So ain't nothing going. There's nothing we could do. Ain't nothing going. He's still gonna be on the radio. He's still gonna get endorsements. He'll get a slap on the wrist and shame for a month or so. Okay. Then by September, everybody forget about it. He'll still have a show. So
and he still work for UFC. So who's stopping him?
Right?
Well, let me change the question then. If you could say what his outcome should be for using the N-word, and then this rant as far as with the theater, what would you do?
I'm taking his money.
You would fine him?
No, I'm saying some type of way where they press us. You're gonna do an apology. You're gonna go on an apology tour. You're gonna lose some money. You're gonna lose some TV time, your shows, like they do us. That's but okay. That's me. I will press him like how they do us.
Do we give the
You mean Nick Cannon? How they did Nick Cannon?
Right.
Do we give the N-word too much power?
Sorry, were you talking to me?
I was.
Oh, you said, do we give it too much power?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. I think the reaction is justified due to the history of the word and the history of it with this country. So no, it's never going to be okay and cool for people to say it. As long as I'm around, if they're around me, I will address it and then move as such. But again, it's nothing I worry about or think about or dwell on. But if I'm somewhere and it's thrown around and I'm looking like, hey, just like I said, if it was anything else, if it's any other type of bad or degenerate behavior, if you have integrity in your man, you check it. And you don't even got to be rambunctious or loud. You pull them to the side like, hey man, you don't use this because of this. And then you educate and teach them. A lot of times they know they'll be trolling and fake silliness, like they don't know what's going on. But as long as they know, you put them to the side and they see it like, okay, this ain't cool, or at least this the wrong one. That's all you can do. Because at the end of the day, people gonna do it in private, and that's just something we gotta accept too. So, But
Okay.
at least overtly, when it's done, I think you should correct the problem.
All right.
I would
Well,
say
it's
this. I've been
always.
called.
Hold on. Like, they ain't called on you yet, man. Derek, thank you. I was always appreciative when you come up because I always love to hear what you have to say.
All right, y'all panel, y'all be safe and y'all have a good Valentine's Day.
All right. Oh, yay. It is about to be V-Day. All right.
All right,
you,
y'all.
man. All right, Black Dave, what you got to say? Okay.
I would say
Now
this.
look, now answer my question now, okay?
I would say find him.
Okay, go ahead.
Let him pay a fee.
Okay.
Let him go to a apology tour, just like Nick Cannon. Because let's be real, when Nick Cannon did what he did, he almost lost his show. They have him go all across the mainstream media, do an apology tour, explain himself, yada yada yada. If he had to go through all that, let him do the same. But we all know they're not gonna do that to him. Let's be honest.
Okay.
I've been called the N-word several times. Know what I tell people? I'm a free guy. I'm not a slave. It doesn't affect me. But it is what it is. That you using that word against me, I think, you know what? Change your mindset. It's not going to work for you. I had to educate people a lot of times because I realize when people say such thing like that, they say things out of ignorance,
Well,
not out of wisdom.
do you think we give the term, the N-word, too much power?
The N-word had the power that it already have already from the very, very beginning. Sometimes we get a little bit too much. Sometimes we need to take a lot more out of it. What we need to do is to replace it. Stop repeating within our community. Because I'll teach my kid not to say it. You start from little before you go out out in the open.
Okay.
Because if you don't teach the younger generation not to speak these things, guess what? I'm hearing 5, 10, 15-year-old kids saying that among my son. And I don't find it cool.
All right. Well, thank you, Black David. I appreciate you as always. And I put your channel in the I didn't know. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I didn't
I've been
know.
working on that for a while because since I
Yeah.
work at the IT for 20 years and I'm now doing IT talks online, we're trying to be a little more towards the small and medium-sized black businesses because I've been doing it for 20 years, freelancing and corporately speaking. So I want to share my knowledge and my insight.
Well, thank you. I'll be sure to follow you.
No
As
problem.
always, thank you. Hink 75. This is your first time on the panel.
Yes.
Well, welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, two things that I would like for you to answer before I let you go.
Okay.
If it was up to you, what would, if anything, would happen to Joe Rogan? And do we give the N-word too much power?
For the first question, I mean, it's a long time ago. I mean, well, there's nothing you can do to him now. Let it be. He apologized. They made him do his apology tour, whatever they gonna do. I mean, that's about it. I mean, anything other than that, makes no sense. Like I said, this is something way back. Let that shit go. Now, as far as giving the N word way too much power, yeah. But it all depends on the individual. You know what I'm saying? And how they feel about it. But I'm not for it. I don't use it. I wouldn't call it. You know, two black people I got on the panel right now. I wouldn't call you that. And I definitely don't want a white boy to call me that. A white person to call me that, or anybody to call me that, regardless. So try to work on that, get it out of your vocabulary, and move forward. Like my man said, find something else to say. But don't call each other the N word. But it starts with us as individuals. I teach my son, it's not what we're gonna do. It's not what we're gonna do. We don't call each other up. We don't accept being called that. If you address me that, I'm not gonna respond to you because it's not what I am. That's not who I am. So, it is what it is.
Well, I appreciate you and thank you for coming up. You said you went to Murray State in Kentucky?
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, we beat y'all all the time at TSU.
Stop it now. Let me tell you this. So in '94 was the last time y'all beat us when I was there. For the next few
you
years,
ain't been keeping up.
Yeah, now Now here lately, you might be right. You might be right, but I'm just talking about from 96, 97, and 98. We was doing some hiding spanking at TCU.
You
I
said
T
Murray
I
State. I was
TSU.
like, ugh.
Well, you know
We
we're
don't
not
make,
even in the
we don't make
OVC no more. So this is our last year in the OVC. So y'all ain't got to worry about us no more.
All right. Well, I appreciate you. You have a good evening. Thank you
You
for
too. Take care, man. All right, Jay.
All right,
JP. What
Courtney, my
up?
girl, what's
I'm
up?
excited that you came up, and thank you for
You is?
your opinion. You know, you surprised me a lot
Why you say that?
because you just do. And I can honestly say I really enjoy when you speak. I think you speak from the heart. I think you're very genuine. And you know, I caught you and Kay, y'all's little show that you had after hours. Was it last week?
Yeah.
And you know, just getting to know you, I think that you're super dope. So I appreciate you blessing my page this evening. It was an
Oh, thank
absolute
you.
pleasure.
Oh yeah, I think the same way about you too, Courtney. I like. I got I was your fan when you first got on. When you first was sticking to that on cold stuff. Something that black people don't do on the media. And use a first person that actually brought that to my attention. Like she's sticking to the code.
Sticking to the G code.
The G code. I'm like, yeah, I agree 1000%. And then I'm just infatuated with Tennessee women.
Well, it's something
But
about us.
yeah, it is. I like those two questions. What I would do if I was in charge
Yes.
for any white person, I'm not going to find them. That's easy. No, I won't do that. They're gonna have to act like a nigga for a whole month. They will have to pick cotton for a whole month for free, because they know what they're doing. I think in order, because how many times we've been trying to stop whites and people from saying the N word for the longest. I think in order for them to really understand that word is for them to get treated like one. We need us black folks need to stop pacifying them, and we don't never think to see physically consequences when it comes to other races of people. I don't look at in the problem with other races of people like that other girl, that girl that was on here. They all punk. They all. How can I put this? Okay, we know whites how they did us. It's almost like they seen us getting punked, so they all punking us. I mean, you got Asian people in Africa right now doing the same thing white folks did to us. So Mexicans, Puerto Ricans is no different. So my biggest thing, us black folks need to stop calling them our brothers. And every time we have a problem, we always say black and brown. No, it's a black issue. We need to stop trying to please make them feel comfortable. We love to make everybody else feel comfortable and gloss over our pain, the stuff that we done been through, just to appease everybody else to make them feel comfortable. Because we not like that. We not like that when it comes to us. When it comes to black on black, we not all that forgiving. We not all of that, slap on the wrist. We give each other the worst type of consequences with certain stuff that we do to each other. So why is we gonna give these other people a slap on the wrist?
Okay.
And when they say not violence, I mean violence is part of our nature. Everybody sit up here talking about they respect the military. Ain't the military violent? Somebody come over here messing with America right now, we gonna call the military. I think black people need build their own system. I think once we start focusing on building our own system, we can easily push out the white system. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead, Courtney.
Well, let's go to the second one. Do we give the word too much power?
Yes, we do give it too much power. White folks can feel shitty about themselves. And they know they can just use that word to get us to make our day all upset.
Wow. And it works. It works.
And it
every
works to
time.
make them feel good.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying the word shouldn't. I mean, I understand the word, but that's not my main focus. My focus on being treated like a nigga. Forget the word. The word simply means ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
And the nigga word come from Nigeria when they use Nigger, because I don't know, because there's two parts to that word. It's the one with the A and it's one with the ER. I too much don't really hear the ER much.
Okay.
So I just think,
Yeah.
what do you think, Courtney?
Well, I'm about to wrap it up. I usually give my last remarks when everyone's gone. So I'll say my little piece at the end before I end it.
Mm-hmm.
But I appreciate you.
Thank you, Courtney.
And thank you
You
for
pretty
coming up.
dope.
And we'll be chit chat. I'll see you soon, I'm sure. You
Oh
don't
yeah,
know where I
definitely.
be. You know, I'll be popping up.
Yeah, but I had watched your show. I know you finna wrap it up, but I wanted to say something about that show when you was talking about black women overlooked,
Oh, okay.
and I had a few thoughts on that.
Oh,
But I know you got to wrap it up.
I'm gonna wrap it up. We'll have this discussion again.
All
Because
right.
Kay was with me when we did that.
Oh, there was.
Yeah, me and Kay had a discussion about black women being overlooked. Well, some of us that were overlooked by men. So we'll talk about that. Don't you worry. I'm gonna get you back on here, be my co-host.
I bet.
All right.
Take it easy, Courtney.
Bye. I'll talk to you.
All right.
JPZ. So this has been interesting. Again, every single show, I say this every single week, it turns into something that I'm always surprised of. I definitely want to thank everyone that is watching, everyone that's sending a super chat, a comment. Thank you, Derek. I see it on behalf of Weave and Sandal. What in the? I do have on my sandals today. I will definitely make sure I invest in a nice sew-in. But I want to thank everyone that's contributed, everyone that's on the panel. I want to make something very, very clear. I am always going to be B1. I am black first. I tell this to my daughter, before I knew you was a girl, I knew you was going to be black. And so now I'm raising her, of course, as a black woman. So I'm always going to be for the betterment of my black community. How I see it might be completely different from how you see it, but I do believe that we have one particular goal, and that's for the advancement of black people. I do think that we give this word too much power. I do think if we would release some of the power that it has, it wouldn't continuously still be used to hurt us or harm us. I want us to be able to grow, and I don't want us to still be in an emotional state that our ancestors was. We can respect them, understand the hardships that went on, the horrible shit that happened. But we don't have to live in that, and we don't have to continuously think and have this word still surround us and be so, every time somebody say it, it riles us up, it triggers us. So that's what my focus is to try to move on and not give white people, Spanish people, anybody that tries to use that word against us. I don't want that to be the I got you. Oh, I can't get you if I say that, but if I call you a nigger, then I know I got you. I don't want that to be it. So this panel is necessary for us to talk and to discuss. So again, for that, I thank you for the amazing conversation. And I hope you got something out of it, because I did. So we're going to be talking about this again. There's a lot of stuff that I want to go back on, because these conversations, I think, can get a lot deeper. And I plan on doing it. So until next week, Wednesday, 6:30 Central Standard Time, I'll be here, and I'm praying that you guys will be here, rock with me as well too. So before you leave, hit the like, subscribe. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate you guys. Oh, and happy Valentine's Day. I totally forgot for all the lovers. This one's for y'all.